have come to see across the course of League of Legends history.
Now look at what's happening on the minimap, because Astralis are trying to cross-map and threaten to dive onto Broken Blade, but Caps is making his way there as well to try and protect.
But how do you dive Broken Blade? He just gets off Skull. They're looking for the CC afterwards. They hold the stun forward, and they do exactly that. Caps is here, though. No unstoppable force for him. They might try and turn and burn back onto him. Jonghyun coming in, looking for those melee auto attacks for the Icebreaker. The CC chain onto Caps is good. Ignite ticking on him now as the stun comes in once again, and Caps trying to walk away. Not allowed to. Leader turns back straight onto Mickey, dives in the forest duet. That was gorgeous from Leader. He takes him out in the 1v2. Just lying in wait in the darkness, and Astralis coming online across the board. They get all 5 plates in the top lane as well.
That is some nice Aurelia-ing from Leader. The combo was flawless. And he finds a quick execute onto Mickey, sending him back to the fountain as Astralis also find 2 kills in top. A nice dive onto Broken Blade. I thought that he was going to buy enough time for Caps to arrive and prevent the dive from really working out, but they play it patiently, they play it clean, and then Caps shows up, he uses QE, realizes I've got nothing left because I don't have ult, and then it's an easy kill for Astralis as Jonghyun continues this roaming style. He's been involved in 6 of the 8 early game kills so far, and yes, he has completely abandoned Kobe pretty consistently throughout the early game, which has kind of sucked for him, but the advantages that Astralis have gained elsewhere on the map have been significant.
Ever since Jonghyun came over from Korea, I think this roaming style has suited him well. Remember his Pike games in the first split that he played. He was always everywhere on the map, and it's something Mickey loves to do on the Heimerdinger as well, but he consistently is caught out. Hunsama so long, Leader takes a Kobe in the end, gets the kill. Leader tanking the tower, will be shut down, but that's a shutdown over to the Donger. And it's probably the priority target if you're Astralis. Give the gold to the support.
That was really cool.
It was really nice.
That was just cool. You know, like, I know a lot of people don't like Aurelia when they see her in solo queue, but man, seeing some high-level play on that Aurelia, the confidence and the understanding of your limits there by Leader was just incredible to watch. These are the champions that this player is known for, assassins. And getting his hands on Aurelia, obviously I had my concerns. We looked at this draft. Okay, where's your AP damage? But right now he's making it work. As G2, though, will be the ones to secure a dragon, losing your mid laner and coming back out onto the map. G2 is still in a very good position.
And the second dragon of the game will be secured for them. They had some deep vision in the Astralis jungle as well, making it hard for Astralis ever to step up towards this. But across the board, Astralis in an okay spot. You know, 1,000 gold ahead at this portion of the game. We'll have another look at this from Leader. Dashes, gets the Q resets from killing the minions, lands the flawless duet.
It's the fact that as he Qs that caster minion, he started his E, and he kind of covered it with his own body. So then when the second E actually comes out, it's a lot quicker and harder to react to, which caught Hansama completely off guard. And then he's able to set up for the extra Q. That is some just really clean Aurelia play. Great stuff from Leader. Of course, does lose his life, but giving that kill over to Mickey, not the end of the world. We'll secure that Finalize, though, to provide that extra bit of utility. But I was not expecting this amount of violence between Astralis and G2. As we mentioned, a single roster change with the addition of Leader. There were questions like how much of a dramatic difference is this really going to make to Astralis, but I feel like that we can already see that difference, level of aggression that they're willing to bring out. And yesterday, Leader did get bullied. He made a couple position mistakes here and there, but here on day 2, getting used to being back on the stage, he's looking confident and he's looking clean on a champion he's very comfortable on.
But even yesterday against Koi, it's actually quite a disparity between the two Astralises we're seeing. Yesterday was really slow, really methodical at times, very willing just to wait out the objectives, fight around these big goals on the map, and then suffocate Koi out of the game. Here, they're taking the fight to G2, trying to get Aurelia ahead, trying to get Kobe ahead. They've struggled, obviously, in that bot lane, but mid lane, Leader is in a very strong spot.
And let's not forget, Astralis were fighting to secure playoffs last split. They were at the bottom of the barrel, finding themselves in, what was it, 8th place? Just short of Fnatic and XL. They had to make sure that they got those crucial wins, and they got a big one against Fnatic, securing them a comfortable spot in the best of 3. So they actually look pretty good, taking down BDS in the best of 3 as well. And But already, if they are able to get a win over G2, this will be the only time that they meet in terms of the best of ones, and it'll be massive. Zhonghun finding the flank, the TP coming in.
Double TPs have been invested. They're going for Hansama. Does still have the cleanse, uses it to get away from the Solar Player, but the dive in is beautiful. Astralis already taken one. Hansama's fallen. Leader dodging onto Mickey. Trying to get rid of the support, and it's another 2 for 2 so far. Yike chased underneath the tower. Caps trying to put the damage down as well, but no ultimate for him. Means that he just has to back away. 2 for 2. Traded in the mid lane.
It's impressive that G2 was actually able to get 2 kills off the back of that, because that fight just looked completely in control of Astralis at the start. They were able to lock down Hansama, who only had the cleanse available incredibly quickly, and the TPs were coming in from multiple angles. So you can see this incredible collapse from the top, from the right, and it looked like the G2 just getting funneled in as they all dive on top of Hansama. He creates a bit of space with his E, but then you can see the damage onto Zhonghun with the AoE damage that's coming out from Mickey, from Caps. And they're able to get that additional kill onto 113 as well. Means that it ends up being a 2 for 2 trade overall.
It took Cobby a little while to really be able to get involved in that fight as well. So a bit, maybe just a tiny bit miscoordinated from Astralis. Didn't have all 5 members firing at the same time, but still 2 for 2 trade is what they'll take.
I mean, it's something that you have to bear in mind as well. You know, you think about it. Oh, hang on. Ultimate in from the Kleds.
Charging down here. Finn, isolated. Gonna try and recall, but that B's not going to help you too much. It's just locked in place, not really much the Renekton can do. It's a very sad Crocodilian as he goes 1-2-2.
The punish is good from G2. They find another kill and keep the gold very even. Renekton, though, still has a slight gold advantage over his lane counterpart. As Astralis now threaten this mid. You can see Irelia pushed in the top wave, now moving down towards mid. The Herald now dropped. They've secured a bit of vision in the top side jungle, as G2 did just commit to 2 members bot, but now they want to make sure they walk this Herald in. I'd be surprised if they commit to another push, but they're going to do just that. Renekton's going to be up in 3 seconds, doesn't have the TP available. They should be able to get that additional knock, and Astralis can walk away happy. Renekton can go catch that bot wave, and now Astralis need to reset. What can G2 do with this window that they now have to reclaim some vision? It looks like not a lot.
I like the fact that in our split break, you know, the 1 week we had off, we decided that buying Shirley a GoPro was one of our priorities. Just strap it on her, see her go down the slopes.
Sometimes those accidents are not your fault, and you need to be able to catch that on
That's
camera.
True, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Dash cam.
It's really important for the insurance.
How, do you think Shirley has insurance? Do you think Reptile has insurance?
I mean, you know, when she knocks someone back, like Shirley's job is to break towers. You know, Hansama's going to be like, well, I got whiplash. You know, it's very common. It's very common. And now she's got proof that she was only going into the tower,
she was just doing her duty.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
True. For king and country.
Exactly.
Just charging.
I don't, well, didn't know that Shelley was British, but all right.
No, you've got Jarvan. He's prince at least.
True,
right? Like,
very true.
Doing it for Jarvan.
Who is on the other team. In any case, Kled engages onto Zhonghun.
Only onto Zhonghun, though. He does have the Eclipse for a bit of extra tankiness, but that tankiness is just not enough. But G2 shred through him. They find a kill as they were setting up around this 3rd dragon of the game, and Astralis caught a little bit unaware there.
Felt like for the first time, it was Astralis who, as you rightly said, were caught unawares. A lot of these fights, they've been the initiators. They've been the ones starting off with Zhonghun, finding good flanks, finding ways to come in, especially that mid-tower dive that G2 tried to set up that Astralis responded with. But this time around, G2 found the advantage. The stun onto Kobe.
Ultimate grenade there. Kobe pops a Featherstorm. Yike holding onto the EQ combo. Gale Force enough to get him out of range.
Kobe able to walk away to safety. Will be forced to go back to base after losing that HP. But now the game returns to a net neutral. G2, though, even after all the chaos, have been securing these neutral objectives. 3 dragons, and it will be Soul Point up next. Irelia now at 2 items, and she's going to be that much stronger as she looks for a fight against Broken Blade.
Does she beat Broken Blade? Hits the stun. Flawless duet there, dodging Broken Blade. Vanguard's edge coming out as well. Broken Blade flashes. Leader flashes forward, straight into the waiting arms of Yike. Now can Leader win the 1v2? He's done it before, but the remount onto Skull is too much. Leader almost takes down Broken Blade in the 1v2, but just can't do enough.
Junglers, man, they always ruin Aurelia's fun. Leader overcommitted a little bit there to try and secure that kill onto Broken Blade. After he'd secured the flash, he should have been happy with it, but he was not expecting the jungle. Now engage from 113.
Finn coming in from the side as well. Mickey doesn't have the flash, has a stopwatch, but that's only going to buy you a couple of seconds. The Solar Player on a control ward there, perhaps thinking Mickey might flash the wall. They hadn't quite timed that one properly. Cap's now caught up in the CC. The charge from Broken Blade as they look for a little bit more. Yike coming in, no cataclysm on him, but already Finn's down. G2 on the advance as they continue to chase.
And another overcommitment from Astralis as they lose another member. Ends up being a 1-for-1 trade, but Finn losing his life in exchange for Mickey's. He really has been the punching bag this game for G2. But now they've secured the kill lead and the gold pretty much remains even. This entire game has been a bloodbath. The tower leads in favor of Astralis. The gold lead ever so slightly in favor of Astralis, but G2 firmly in control of the Dragons. And 113, he sees an opportunity here. He thinks he can catch Mickey out with Finn coming in from the flank and with the bot lane moving in through the mid lane. But this stopwatch just doing a great job of buying time. Jonghoon does ult, as you suspect, predicting the flash from Mickey, as that's really the only direction he can go. Of course, doesn't have his flash available. Means that there's nothing to burn. And then Finn, well, he didn't have any tools to escape, so he ends up losing his life on the back end.
And the difficulty for Astralis now is you're facing up against a lot of armor on the side of G2. You're facing up against Soul Point for the next 4 dragons or so. A single misstep gives G2 Soul, or gives them a Baron. Unless, obviously, they're not up at that time. But Astralis are fighting from a deficit in terms of neutral objectives. Yike looking for a flank here, catapults him in. Jonghoon's going to look for the solar flame as well, and Yike's just gone a little bit too deep here, shut down already. Broken Blade dashing away, the tower will fall. Caps going in as well, but he's rooted with the Blade Caller. Stun's going out, Caps looking for the ult, but Kobe flashes it. 113 will fall though, another route onto Caps. Jonghoon going back in, and Leader has not been here for this entire fight. Hunt Summer with a double, Kobe gets one in response. Another's going to follow up as Broken Blade will fall. And Astralis, as G2 dived, all they could see was blood. They take 3, and they might even turn towards the Baron.
Kobe is just so damn good, man. The react flash onto Caps in the midst of that whole fight, positioning perfectly to set up for the feathers to deal as much damage as possible, landing 2 separate routes throughout the fight. Looks good, but now they commit to the Baron, and Hansummer and Mickey are still alive.
Finn flashes in, he was looking for someone, but Hansummer and Mickey backed away in perfect unison. Hansummer gets another ace in the hole. Gonna chunk out Kobe, Leader and Kobe now all hailing the retreat, trying to get back to the safety of their tower.
And now look,
helping out.
He is back on the map, but so is Jonghoon and 113. The junglers return as Kobe needs to reset. But Hansummer, he hears his praise Kobe, and he immediately answers back with a play of his own. The AD carries are on form today. And it is fun to watch these two duke it out. The gold continues to stay even. The dragon spawns in a minute's time, and this has to be the objective that both teams have their eyes on. The last fight did not have Leader in it. And you can see G2 trying to punish the fact that the Aurelia is top lane and has the way to join the exchange. Yike far too deep though. It's way too difficult for the rest of G2 to really follow up with 113 and Jonghoon. And look at that, Kobe uses his ultimate to dodge Mickey X's ultimate, which means he doesn't get CC'd initially. Look at the positioning of the feathers, roots up Caps to make sure that they can continue. The flash immediately, the second that he sees another route onto Caps, sets up for Jonghoon to follow up to secure that kill. And then they get another one onto Broken Blade. Now another engage.
Jonghoon onto Mickey. Solar Flare going down as well. 113 looking for it, but Mickey has time to flash away. Has Merc Tread so he can get out of it. Leader going onto Unsummer. Stop with the unstoppable force. Unsummer cleanses away and Leader still takes him. 1-for-1 so far. As Broken Blade will take the counter kill. Yike in a good flank position here. No Cataclysm on him, but an EQ could spell doom for Astralis. Dragging up in 18 seconds, as you say, Betty. Leader will be back up in 35. Hansummer in 30.
But it is crucial that Kobe is still alive. Right now, Astralis have control over the objective. G2 is looking at their options, and there's a world where they could have potentially traded for something like a Baron, threatened that as an alternative. But without their AD carry, they don't have the speed with which to take it down quick enough. So they're going to instead choose to push in mid, clear out some of this vision, and look to reset. That trade from Leader was crucial in preventing G2 from doing anything else as Astralis buy enough time to prevent the soul from falling.
I'm going to be honest, Freddy, it's been a while since we've seen G2 really pushed in a game. Definitely didn't have.
On Summer, whereas Astralis have damage dealers across the board, and their ease of execution when it comes, as long as they're starting the fights, Astralis have been able to find ways in which they can come out on top.
460 armor on Caps. About 200 to 300 on Yike as well. Only 460, man. There's a last whisper though for Kobe though, so he's gonna absolutely melt through that.
Starting this Baron off.
Baron has been started. Charge available for Broken Blade. Ultimates across the board for G2.
They have to be suspicious.
They're definitely suspicious. Astralis trying not to be.
They're flipping it.
They're going for the flip. Yike goes in with the EQ. It's secured by Kobe, and now Yike tries to flash away but can't get over his own wall. He built it and he pays for it. The solar flare short from Jonghoon. Mickey sidestepping the Zenith Blade as well. G2 could have lost a lot more out of that fight, but good sidestep for Mickey means that he stays alive, and G2 can back and defend their base.
But Astralis walk away with the Baron, and what a convincing call Kobe stacking up the feathers behind the Baron to make sure that they had that additional bit of burst when going for the smite fight. They coordinated it well, and Yike wasn't able to secure the steal, meaning now that he's lost his life, that's one less member to help defend the gates, as Astralis have come a knocking. But for now, they'll take the tower, they'll look to reset, and they'll look to spend some of that gold that they have secured. Look at that big spike. Finally, one of these teams has secured a pretty big advantage, and I don't think anyone was expecting for it to be Astralis. We're gonna get a slow-mo. The feathers at the back of the pit, you can see them stacking up. Goes in. I think that initial smite came out from Yike.
Yeah.
And then Kobe, actually, with his burst from the feathers, is actually what secured it in the end.
Yike caught out a little bit here. Glacial Prism slides in from 113. Yike's going to try and get across the wall. Cataclysm's in. Leader going on to Hunt Summer as well, but Leader's locked up and can't get the kill. Hunt Summer able to survive off the back of it. And the push delayed now for Astralis. They were able to take a top tier 2 out of this Baron. They'll look for a bot tier 2 as well.
I will admit, visually, very confused as to what happened
This
in
whole
that
fight
space.
is just everyone jumping on top of each other
But
and
they were
someone
like
dies.
sliding on top of each other. Leader did actually use his flash, so did Caps in that last exchange, but they kept Hunt Summer alive, which in the last few fights they've struggled to do. 5 deaths on the AD carry for G2, and that's not to say that he hasn't tried his damnedest to stay alive, but Leader has been creating a huge amount of pressure in these fights and making his life difficult in the 5v5s. But wow, what an incredible game between these two teams. Kobe, he had a strong split when we look back to Winter. Him and Jonghoon were able to find 2v2 kills in lane. Their team fighting was a large part of what made Astralis successful. And now it feels like that they've just been further enabled by Leader. 113 Leader and Jonghoon as a trio are just ready to fight at every opportunity. It feels like that every exchange we see is often started by these three in tandem. And G2, I don't think they were expecting this level of aggression from Astralis, but we heard the conversations, we heard the comments, we heard G2 yesterday saying they're excited to face Astralis because this team has been looking good behind the scenes, and we're seeing it come to fruition here on the stage today. Let's see if they can still win this game though. The deficit isn't so large that G2 can't bounce back, and with a minute until the Dragon, G2 have a very clear win condition or a potential way back into this game should Astralis falter.
And that's where the battle lines will be drawn. The next Dragon will be Soul for G2, Hex Soul as well on a Caitlyn. It's just absolutely disgusting. Astralis trying to get some information behind enemy lines, placing wards into that G2 blue side, and G2 start to move Broken Blade down. Importantly, doesn't have the TP. So while this setup happens around the Dragon, while Astralis can lead Finn up towards the top side, Broken Blade has to decide either to come down or to chase onto Finn up towards the top side of the map. And it looked like they were trying to collapse here for a second. Finn could TP out. G2 realized that Finn is not being greedy, not pushing the extra wave. We're now back towards
But with
bot
such
side.
a large investment, they now know that they can push this wave in bot lane all the way in. But this could be a window for G2 to try and force a fight in mid.
TP's coming in, one behind Hunt Summer here as well. Jonghoon trying to get in, Kobe's still alive. They've dived onto 113. Off towards the back, Leader has to pop the stopwatch. He's against 3 players right now. G2 just distracting Astralis. Finn and Leader doing everything they can. Onto Hunt Summer, down to a 3rd HP. Finn almost gets Mickey, but Mickey flashes away. 1-for-1 trade so far. Broken Blade now in the stopwatch of his own. Jonghoon stepping forward. Broken Blade will fall as well. 2-for-1 in favor of Astralis as they look to push down mid.
The fight was split thanks to the TPs committed by Astralis. Finn coming in from the river, Leader coming in from mid lane. Once G2 had committed with Broken Blade and Yike, they effectively got separated from the backline, from the damage of Hunt Summer, thanks to Leader basically being a backline threat. He did lose his life in the exchange, but it was worth it as Astralis break into the base, find 2 kills.
Jonghoon's going to die here. No way for him to get out. He looked for the Zenith Blade onto Hunt
But
Summer.
the Dragon, remember, that is now going to be up and is something that with Yike spawning in 5 seconds, G2 will have their eyes on.
Leader 10 seconds away. Finn still with the team right now. Astralis trying to take some control over the top side, but as you say, Betty, the Dragon, the key focus.
Raptors right now.
I think they're looking for double inhib. I think Finn is going to try and push in top side. They give up the Hex Soul and they get double inhib instead. Broken Blade has back to try and answer that. The Dragon now started. Astralis realizing with Jonghoon dead, they cannot
to just
fight
sacrifice it. All right. Wow. Okay. So at the end of the day, by going for that mid inhibitor, they sacrificed this Dragon. And we look back at the fight. So 3 members in mid lane right now with the 2 side laners from Astralis. They tried to tank the shot from Hans Sama. But you can see here, when the TP's coming in, Caps immediately retreats to provide protection, along with Mickey, which basically creates a 2 versus 3 situation on the front line. Yike is perma-CC'd. The stopwatch buys a little bit of time, but when Finn arrives to the fight, Leader, look at how much damage he's able to do with the assistance of Finn. Almost getting the kill onto Hans Sama, but doesn't quite have the tools needed to secure it. But it doesn't matter, because he bought enough time. He forced that backline away from the fight, allowing Astralis to come out the victors. And at this point, they probably should have gone for the Dragon. They probably should have denied that win condition, but instead they opened up the inhibitor, and now G2 have the soul. And again, I would not count G2 out just yet. They still feel very strong, and one good team fight can turn the game. The Baron now back up. The battle line's drawn once more.
And Sama has both sums as well. Vision control for G2 around this Baron side. Astralis trying to shepherd in their super minions. 1-1-3 going on to counts, but not really the target that you're looking for right now. Broken Blade's going to catch the wave in mid. Astralis continue to push forward.
Look at these waves on the side, though. G2 have a massive stacked one on bot, and Astralis are just walking in the super minions in mid-wave. Engage.
1-1-3. Only gets onto caps. Once again, not the target you want. That's Glacial Prison burnt. Big ultimate for the next fight. As you say, the minion wave in the bot lane crashing.
But they have no TPs. They have no TPs, so they can't afford to go and catch it. As you rightly said, they're doing a lot of damage as well. But Astralis, they're in this awkward position where they don't know what to do. G2 are in a better position as they just waste Astralis' time. That tower is likely to fall. They have position around the Baron, that top lane wave in a good spot as well. And G2 are just passively gaining these advantages, leveraging the fact that Astralis do not have the TPs.
Broken Blade looking for it. John, who tries to get onto Hans Sama but can't get close enough. Leader onto Yike, knocked up. Leader, solar flare on the backline though. They're going for Mickey instead, and Mickey's already dead. Leader still surviving in the midst of it all as he continues to dish out the damage in the fight. Kobe doing it too. It's a double with the root, and now Hans Sama left alone. Yike flashes out, but there's nowhere for him to go. His base, his team, the win forfeited to Astralis.
G2 force the fight, but Astralis walk away the victors. Once again, this top side for Astralis acting as a meat shield for Kobe to freely dish out the damage and tear G2 apart.
And we wondered what the change would do for Astralis. Was bringing Leader in the right choice? Well, right now, they're going all the way to the stars. Astralis 2-0.
A massive victory for Astralis. Last split, they struggled to make it into top 8. Last split, it felt like that Astralis was an afterthought, and while they did show some good stuff in the best of 3s, it felt like that the Astralis, they only got 3 wins.
Yep.
Headache. And now they're already at 2 within their first week, with one of those victories being over G2 and the other being over Koi.
Yeah.
2 top 3 teams in the league they have already been able to take down, and of course, best of ones, a lot can happen, right?
But what a start.
At the end of the day, to start your split like this puts you in a prime position moving out through the rest of the season, as Astralis with a single change have only looked better and better.
Also playing a composition that in draft looked like it could struggle. All physical damage into a Malphite is not usually your cup of tea. It's not usually what you want to see, but played it well. Leader had a great performance, as did Kobe. Like everyone on that team actually just had a great day today.
I mean, what I will say is Kobe is looking incredible.
Yeah.
Right now, this bot lane is doing nothing but succeed. Admittedly, in the laning phase, he was left alone as Jonghoon was consistently finding roams on the map. But in the team fights, his positioning, his reactions, just the way that he's been playing is nothing but incredible to watch. And Leader on these carries, in the past, it was always a point of criticism. You can't make these carries work. Yep. There's no way that you're going to be able to find success only limiting yourself to these champions. What do? Locked in Irelia Sejuani early, and he said, well, my team's happy to facilitate me, and that's exactly what they did.
They did. We're going to hear from the star bot lane from Astralis, Kobe, who's standing by with Shocks.
Thank you.
What are these teams going to bring us, Sveti? What exciting things await us in the midnight hours here?
Hopefully some dancing on the beach. I wonder what the priorities will be. I'm always excited about the jungle matchup, seeing these two teams play. Jankos, I think, continues to have strong performances, just like he did last split. And I think that Malrang, I think at the beginning of last split, he struggled, but I was quite surprised by community sentiment around him towards the end, throughout the best of threes and the best of fives, because I felt like that he was so important to their success in terms of the early game and how much that he was doing for Koi and kind of what helped them return to the top spots that we have in Europe, securing top 3 last split. So yeah, I'm always excited to watch these two junglers duke it out. It's always going to be a guaranteed banger, as both junglers have taken many games off of each other, as both teams right now very much in need of a win at the start of spring.
Yeah, Koi losing to Astralis yesterday, Heretics losing to G2. Two teams we've seen battle it out in probably the best game of the split so far in the last game. Annie banned out here by Heretics means the Sejuani immediately locked for Koi. Heretics could go for something like the Vi as an answer. It's kind of the handshake we've been seeing a lot across the course of spring. And Jankos had a very good performance yesterday. Vi would suit him in terms of having an impact on the map once again. But instead, Xayah, it seems, or Zeri maybe, for Jack Spectra instead. So Zeri plus Vi here would be a good 1-2 from Heretics.
Seems that they're just...
Wukong,
okay, Wukong taking a bit of a different direction. Not that it's that strange, of course.
No.
Both champions still very present in the meta, but Heretics wanting a few team fight tools with an element of scaling. Of course, this composition can still go in a number of different directions. The Jace, though, going to be prioritized alongside the Sylas. Koi very confident in their top side of the map. They want to give Jigenda more agency, and this is exciting to see. Jigenda was brought in as someone who, in theory, could play more carries. He was supposed to be more versatile. He was supposed to be someone that they could look to play through more than compared to Odoamne, and then they did not do that at all last split. It was very much, as was often the case with Koi, a very bot-side focused team. But Sejuani plus Jace can be a very effective top jungle duo, so we'll see if they can play through Jigenda and enable him to be this carry top. Of course, their bot lane still yet to be locked in, as no support was secured for Heretics, as they wanted to make sure they could get a decent mid-matchup rise with decent push as an option against the Sylas. Can look to bully him out and potentially look for these roams in the early game to try and limit what Jigenda can do on the map.
And it's the struggle when people away or divert from the traditional draft style of jungle support AD carry on the first 3, right? As soon as someone says, okay, we're going to pick top side, you now only have one slot as Heretics to try and answer that top side of the map. They went with the Rise, and you can see Koi are starting to remove some of the top laners that would be a nuisance for Jace later on.
For sure. I like the Senna ban. They were expecting the Senna show from Koi. Something that they were known for in the past. I forget exactly when Senna was better. It was like 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago. But yeah, it makes a lot of sense that they would want to respect that, especially given how creative the spot lane can often be. The Lulu being denied away from the Zeri also makes a lot of sense. But how will Heretics look to round out their first half? You expect the support. Right now, they're looking at a couple of options. Heimerdinger is something that we've been seeing a lot of recently.
The thing is, you can also pick top because you already know your top lane counter, right? Usually you would expect support here. I totally agree with you, Betty, but top makes sense. Into the Jace. We'll see where Ebby wants to go. Oh, no, we won't. We already know where he's going to go. Cassante. Oh, no, we don't. Okay. I was so sure Cassante was just going to get locked and we'd see the Ebby special, but Tryndamere instead, something he played a lot in the LFL. He will bring that one back out. Lucian Nami for Koi. I was wondering if it would be something like a Felios Thresh, but Lucian Nami instead. There is someone in the crowd with an I love Yumi sign. I'm just going to shout them out. Probably not going to see her, but you do you. Not going to yuck your yum. And we are on the patch where she's not good, thankfully.
That's next patch.
Yeah.
But Tryndamere, as you rightly said, something that Ebby very well known for back in the LJL days. One of his go-to favorites. We also got to see it in the SKE show match at the beginning of the year from him in the mid lane. I think it can be a pretty good matchup into the Jace. Those early levels are really where Jace has to kind of take advantage of the range that he has over the Tryndamere, but as the game progresses, Tryndamere scaling is something that's very difficult for many duelists to be able to manage. And we'll see how effective he can be with it as Heretics round out their draft with Rakan. They want a little bit more follow-up with their engage. Slightly easier way to start off these fights. There's a lot of mobility on the side of Koi as they return to the Lucian Nami bot lane, something that in Europe has largely fallen out of favor, but I think still has strengths. Not as strong as it was, but especially in this matchup, I think that it's something that they can look to gain some advantages with. So Koi, they have early game lanes that they can definitely look to play through, whether it be through the top side of the map or the bot side of the map. Whereas I do think that Heretics do have pretty good scaling on their side. They have a lot of team fight power especially, but their 1-through-1, their ability to play through sides with things like the Rise and the Tryndamere is going to be really important when going up against a Sylas and a Jace. These solo lanes are going to be really integral to the success of their teams, and looking for early leads around these lanes is going to be crucial in order to set up for the mid to late game to create this split push pressure. Heretics versus Koi, our matchup of the week for week 1 of spring. Guaranteed to be a banger. A lot of fans are excited for this rivalry in Europe, and we'll see who can come out on top.
That we will, Betty. That we will. Vamos to Summoner's Rift. There you go. As Koi and Heretics take to the stage for our last game of the day. We are into the game. Promise you there are no more delays yet. And as everyone runs actually down towards this bottom side jungle, Heretics might look for an invade. Could just be protecting against any early vision. Now Ebby can spin across that wall, slash anyone he finds, but he doesn't find anyone. So Heretics now going to use this opportunity, knowing that they're not on vision, to step forward. Larson. Mercer knocks him up, and immediately Heretics are on the board. Ebby spins, and gets first blood.
Wow. Caught Larson completely unawares, and a little bit surprising. They had no one watching that entrance. Ebby went over the wall to see if anyone was in the bush, if anyone was nearby, that maybe he could catch them off guard after recognizing that no one was there. Well, the rest of Heretics just move into that space, and Koi fell prey to the lying trap that Heretics had set up.
Like catching a fish in a barrel.
You mean like shooting a fish in a barrel?
Yeah, but they caught him.
And then they shot him.
It's more of like a big slash. You know?
Murder.
Sword. It was definitely murder.
Yeah.
It was definitely murder.
Ebby will now pick up a longsword and an extra pot thanks to that. So he's pretty happy in the top lane matchup. Is of course not running the TP, something to bear in mind, but the Ghost does give you a bit of extra kill threat in the early game. You got to be careful of those early game Tryndamere crits. Got to see them over in North America from M&S. He definitely bullied Jojo in the matchup. And he's looking to do the same thing. Can we quickly pan over to top lane, observers? I see Ebby taking a pretty aggressive trade. No? Okay, we'll stay bot. No,
there we are. So the thing with Tryndamere, if you see that red bar underneath him, just because we don't see him too often, I'll explain his passive. There's a crit.
There, right there.
The more of that red bar he builds up, the more likely he is to crit. It goes up to 40% at 100 Fury from, 0% at 0 Fury, so 4% every 10 Fury he gets. And part of the battle when facing a Tryndamere is you often play crit roulette.
Yep, the
which
RNG
is,
gods.
hey, he spins on me. If he crits, I lose the lane. If he doesn't crit, I win the lane.
Yep.
At the moment, Ebby in a pretty strong position, obviously, because he got first blood and has a longsword alongside his Doran's shield.
Also, it can heal him.
It can heal him. He uses his Fury to heal himself. It's called Bloodlust. It's cute.
Yeah, so there was a period in time, well, across the world where Tryndamere was just very popular in mid and top, and then he just kind of fell out of favor. I forget exactly why, but cool to see Ebby bringing the champion back out as an answer to the Jace. Gonna dive on top. Any crits? No, not that time around. Good spacing there from Jigenda, but again, it's this play pattern that Ebby can keep taking advantage of. Spinning in, going for a short trade, maybe getting a quick crit off, and then if he doesn't, he can heal it back up. And of course, he still has 2 health pots that he's sitting on, and basically this war of attrition, he is consistently winning out on, as Jigenda going with the Doran's Blade and the health pot means that he's already out of pots. So Ebby playing the isolated 1v1 matchup very well. I did also note that Yankos actually did a full bot side clear, took his red, and then moved into the enemy jungle. And he's already face-to-face with Malrang right now. And Ruby has gotten the push in mid lane as well. So pushing mid, pushing top, and Yankos is setting up an invade. So Koi need to be careful at this point in the game already, because Heretics are looking to build some early game advantages, and they're looking to do that through this early prio they have built up for themselves. Now, the only thing I can tell you is that Koi have paused the game. Once we have more information as to why, we will share it with you. But the only other fun fact that we have is the last Tryndamere in the LEC was Broken Blade in spring of 2022, which is just last year. So it's not that uncommon, as we mentioned. Tryndamere has seen competitive play in the last few years. Spinning champions recently have just become more popular.
Yeah. Garen. Darius. Tryndamere.
All suspiciously by the same person.
What champ would Batman play?
What champ would Batman play? I don't know.
The Dark Knight Rises. It's Rise.
Oh, the Dark Knight.
Yeah, it wasn't my best work.
No,
but
not your best
it's
work.
also 11 o'clock at night, so.
Okay.
Lee Sin walks into a bar.
Okay.
And a table. And a chair. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you've heard it before.
Someone in the audience, literally,
you want to come
no joke. He no joke just looked Medic dead in the eye and said, "I've heard that one before. Come, clown. Continue with your jokes. Entertain me." Yeah. Well, clown, go,
okay,
begin.
Well, I can entertain you by telling you that Larsen's reported some FPS issues, which League officials are investigating. I don't, man, like...
Dance for us.
The problem is, I have League of Legends puns up
Then give us another one.
But they're really bad. It's a Reddit thread, so obviously they're
so you're stealing content now. What content have you stolen for us? Share.
Where does Fiora water her plants?
I don't know.
On garden.
That one's quite good.
Thank you, Summer Sun 1, 7 years ago. Oh, okay. Wait,
we have a headset. Wait, we have a spare one. Wait.
Shocks will take my headset.
No, hang on. I think we have a spare one.
Can we get Shoutcaster 1 turned on, please?
Put that on. Hang on a second.
Shocks has joined us.
Can you guys hear Sharks?
You guys can hear her? Excellent. I stole your joke? Oh, okay. I didn't know that, did I? I'm just here reading them.
Just pause, I said it.
Oh, really?
About Lee Sin.
Oh, okay, so we're actually... I'm stealing from you, and you're stealing from Reddit, and we're all stealing from everyone.
Yeah, it's a segment that we're going to do, probably.
Okay, that's cool.
Maybe. Or we get two pro players to have, like, water in their mouth, and then we tell them bad jokes, and then if they
like
spit
a
it...
spit take thing.
That sounded different than what I imagined.
Looks like we're ready to get back.
Okay.
You want to cast for us for a bit, Aethra?
Oh, you're back?
Yeah, you're welcome to cast for a bit if you want.
That's okay.
Okay, cool.
Okay, bye.
Anyway, they're minions.
Thank you, Sharks.
That was good. Thank you very much, Shocks. I'm sorry for stealing your
Quick round of
joke.
applause for Sharks. Thank you very much. I love how she was so passionate about the fact that you stole her joke.
And she stole it from someone else. I can tell you who she stole it from, actually. From... Okay, no, I can't. Because that name has the letters R and the numbers 4 and 3, but in a different order.
Okay.
So I cannot say that name.
I see. Okay.
Ruby trading with Larsen in the mid lane. Back to League of Legends.
I wanted to see what Jankos was up to.
Old school Yorick joke?
The old school Yorick joke?
Yorick walks into a bar. There are no counters. Because he used to be broken.
Oh, it's a good one. Yeah, I remember that one. Didn't you have a Yasuo one for me?
Yes. Why does Yasuo never get locked out of his house?
Dunno.
Because he has a key.
I remember that one.
Oh, Mao's going to face Larsen here. Sorry, Jankos. And he just knocks him away. One more quick one for you.
Okay.
How'd you get Pikachu on a bus?
Pokemon.
Pokemon.
That's a classic.
Or you go with the, you can't, he's fictional, stop imagining this thing.
Ebby trying to proxy right now, but he's in a bit of danger. Jigenda doesn't really have the mana to fight this.
Larsen's moving as well.
Larsen is, in fact, making his way over, forcing Jankos to disengage from the small exchange.
But Ruby's going to come across as well. Do Ebby and Jankos want to continue this aggression? It seems like they don't. Jankos is going to work his way down towards the bottom side of the map.
Yeah, go get that crab. Your Gromp is also back up. Mercer trying to interrupt the backs. Oh, he uses the ignite. Nice timing there, because Jack Spectra already making his way down bot. The small advantage that Comp and Trimby had been able to build in the 2 versus 2 will now be slightly delayed. So there is a now slight tempo advantage in favor of Jack Spectra.
Comp and Trimby have already picked up a plate down there, though, and you can see about a 10-11 CS lead. That's going to fall down a little bit, but the Lucian Nami early game aggression is what it was always known for in here. Seems to be working out okay. Trimby's going to try and catch this wave, but Jack Spectra and Mercer will be having none of that. In fact, they're going for the dive. Trimby heals himself up with the ebb and flow. Does still have the summoner spell heal as well, if so required. But he's low on mana, so he probably wants to get a reset off. Only issue is Comp needs to get back into this lane. You can see Malrang actually working his way down towards the bottom side as well, just in case Heretics decided to do anything a little bit spicy.
For the time being, nothing too dramatic happening in the early game. Advantages being gained in the bot side of the map, kind of as we expected. You leave them in the isolated 2v2. The Lucian Nami, very effective at being able to bully out the Rakan and Zeri, who, early laning phase, these champions just don't really have the trading powers. Good trade there, though, as I say that from Jack Spectre, able to land everything. Comp forced to burn the health pot. But once again, supports make their way out onto the map, look for a bit of an opportunity, maybe assist with some vision. But for the time being, nothing too crazy happening. Nice to see Jigenda getting a little bit back. The advantage that he does have is the teleport, which means that it's much easier for him to be able to get a comfortable base off, which is exactly what he's gone and done. And now he finds himself with a CS lead, but not really a gold lead, largely thanks to that first blood. As you can see, a 400 gold difference is what separates them.
Exactly, and the Jason to Tryndamere should be able to do this. You know, you have ranged advantage up in that lane. Tryndamere can try and spin onto you, but if you space well, as we've seen Shigenda doing, it can be tricky for the Tryndamere to actually make any of that damage really stick. Not effective damage, as we were talking about earlier, Vedi.
Yep.
But Ebby with the level 6 now has that chase potential. The Undying Rage, something you always have to be worried about, especially when you get to this position in the lane, with Evie having it frozen here. Ghost and a chase onto you could be enough to force Shigenda to fall.
Have a look at the minimap once more. That should give information to Heretics that Malrang is somewhere nearby, given that cone has been popped. But so far, low action in this early game. Not too surprising when we look at the compositions. A lot of it is about making sure that these solo laners are comfortable, able to farm up without too much pressure. And a reminder that both these teams, as you can see at the top of your screen, suffered a loss yesterday. Last split, Koi had a very struggling start to the split, whereas Heretics mostly spent the split near the middle of the pack. Expectations were, though, for Heretics that this would be a growing roster, something that builds up over time. Whereas Koi, I think expectations were much higher, of course, in the best of threes. They dominated. I don't even think they dropped a game in the best of threes. It wasn't until they went to the best of fives that they actually saw defeat. But Koi starting off the split, not in the way that they had hoped, but perhaps little do we know that Astralis is in fact the greatest team in the world, still yet to be seen.
I mean, they beat our champs, so by the transitive property.
I mean, technically, if they beat Mad Lions, they will have beaten the top 3.
Yep. We'll see if they can do that. Mercer and Jack Spectre trading here. Mercer just trying to get back in, trying to force Comp away.
Has the ult.
Ruby goes in. Realm Warp has been used. Heal coming out from Trimby as well. The bubble just wide, though. Ruby able to dodge it. Trimby does still have the flash here. Can get across that wall. The Ignite is ticking on him, but he'll be able to escape for now. Larson on his way as well. Didn't steal away the Realm Warp, I don't believe, so wasn't able to close that gap any quicker. Instead, much ado about nothing there. Heretics able to force the flash out of Trimby alongside the heal, but not able to get much more.
Well, the good news for Heretics is, as you rightly said, they get a small summoner spell advantage, but it also provides a window for which Jankos to secure this neutral objective, as there is no contest for the time being, given that Malrang is on the bot side of the map. They can funnel this into Evi if they want to try and open up the map a little bit more. And so far, we haven't really been able to see Koi enable this top lane matchup, try and funnel any more resources into Shigenda. Admittedly, it has just largely been neutral, but will they now threaten a dive? There is that one ward there, Jankos hiding in the fog of war, Evi looking to get the push, and Mercer making his way to the top lane as well. Just has hit level 6, and Shigenda, after seeing Jankos, realizing that something is amiss.
And Trimby roaming up here alongside Mercer. You can see both the supports trying to move across. Rifthold already secured though, so no real fight for them. Just looking to see if anyone is caught out of position. But for the moment, it's a very good start for Heretics. Gold leads everywhere but the bot side of the map. They also have that Herald if they want to try and get some more gold into Jack Spectre. Supplement his income with a couple of plates. Or they could even use it up towards that top side and try and make Shigenda have to play in an even longer lane on this Jace. Can be an issue for the Jace later on, getting chased down by Tryndamere. I've just looked at what you're Googling, Vedi. I like the way this is going. If you can find a good riddle.
I need to find a good one, but I realize that, like, nothing is happening. Like, literally nothing.
My go-to riddle is always what gets wet while it dries.
What gets wet while it dries?
Yep.
Oh, that's quite the thinker.
You pontificate on that.
I shall pontificate. The one that always gets me...
How does it always get you if it's a riddle?
I mean,
you know the answer,
the problem is I only ever remember
goodness.
the solution.
Okay.
Never the riddle itself.
Okay, give me the solution, we'll make up a riddle.
Okay, but it's the different ages, you know? It's like
it's the Sphinx's riddle.
What has 4 legs, what has 2 legs, what has 3 legs?
It's the Sphinx's riddle.
Yeah.
It's what walks on 4 legs, or what is 4 legs when it's young or something, and then 2 legs when it's middle-aged, and then
but that's the thing. It's not the ages on there because that's the solution.
Well, it's just the Sphinx's riddle. It's a very popular, very famous riddle. Sphinx. I'm gonna look it up. Sphinx's riddle. What goes on 4 feet in the morning, 2 feet in midday, and 3 feet in the evening?
There you go. Yeah.
The answer to the what gets wet while it dries one. Are you still thinking about that?
So these riddles, what I've Googled.
Okay.
Basically, they are champions.
Okay.
Okay. So crowd, you can play as well, and obviously the chat and production, you can all play. Right, but the
I'm
riddle here
expecting
is...
that guy that told me it was a bad joke to be
He's gonna
ready
be like,
with all
I've
of
heard
these
it
answers.
before.
Like, I'm looking
Right.
at you, man.
Okay, once a hero, I'll smack you in the face. I'll drain the tank and score an ace. An outcast, yet a servant still. I fight my battles with a newfound chill. If you want me to read it again, I will.
We're going back into game now, thankfully.
Are we?
Yeah. Wait.
Yeah, I mean, like,
once a hero, okay,
I'll read it
smack you in
again.
the face.
Once a hero, I'll smack you in the face. I'll drain the tank and score an ace.
Sure.
An outcast, yet a servant still. I fight my battles with a newfound chill.
I mean, Trundle is the champion that was made cold after not being cold, because he was originally Pillar of Filth and everything, and then he became the King of Frost, right?
You would be correct. The first one is in fact Trundle. Great job. Medic with the answer to the very first one. Did anyone in the audience get that? Any of you?
Of course they're going to say yes now.
No.
Okay.
Oh, you did?
All right.
Nice, okay. So one person. You guys need to step it up. I'm very disappointed in all of you. Do you want another one? Hang on, no, we might have a gank. Come on, Yankos, give us a gank.
Here he goes.
Yankos!
Trimby has no flash, remember. They look for him, they dive in. Mercer going in as well onto comp. Trimby should fall to Jack Spectre. There's one, they can't get two. And 11 minutes in, Betty, the game's come alive.
Yankos, finally fulfilling the action that we were looking for, is able to find a kill in the bot side of the map. Has to commit the flash, but as you rightly said, punishes the flash, the support Trimby. Ooh, they have not spotted out Malrank. He lies and waits.
I mean, the thing is, it's just Herald plus 2 plates, right? Or Herald plus a plate.
Yeah,
so
they'll get one plate.
Malrank does come in, tries to take this, but yeah, in the end, 2 plates fall. And the third, short to follow if Heretics are able to get a little bit more time with that tower. A 2,000 gold lead.
Crit?
Well,
No.
Heretics.
One.
There's one crit. Shigenda can knock him back, though.
Ooh, nice trade from Shigenda. Played that very well. Comes
You
out
say
ahead.
that, Ebby's going to be back up at full life.
Oh, hang on, but that's a lot of damage that Shigenda's dealing right now. This CS difference between the two top laners has stayed at exactly 4 for the entire game.
It's now only 1, though, Betty.
Yeah, but it will be 4 again, I
Okay.
imagine.
You imagine. So
Look.
there were more than 4 minions there.
Doesn't matter.
Okay, so he's going to miss one of these. Okay, Shigenda gets the cannon. No -1s here.
Now there's a 6.
6 now, Betty.
These are the topics that we found while we entertain ourselves.
Oh, I never told you that what gets wet while it dries.
I'm still pontificating.
Okay.
I'm still pontificating. What gets wet while it... I want to say a towel, but it's not a towel.
It is a
Wait,
towel.
it is a towel!
Genius.
Ah.
Realm warp up towards the top lane. Look
Here we
at
go,
Shigenda.
Ruby.
Trying to clear out the wave. It's already gone. Shigenda flashes
nice
away.
flash.
Ebby spinning, slashing forward. Looking for a little bit more here. Shigenda no flash, remember. Ebby still with that ghost procking and the crits coming in and Yankos covering. Shigenda has nowhere to go. 2-0 now
that's funny.
on the Tryndamere.
Ebby, you think, like, Shigenda's like, I've played this about as well as I can, and then Ebby's like, hi, slap, 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 dead. Tryndamere, everyone. Another advantage gain for Heretics is, I mean, a nice roam from Ruby. He basically forced Shigenda into a position that he couldn't really get out of, and now Ebby can just get another plate. Resources gained. Next objective spawns in about 1.5 minutes. 2 minutes on the side of the Infernal Dragon. And I see Mercer in the mid lane helping to get that push for Jack Spectre as they move the Rise over to the bot lane.
Yeah, Mercer and Jack Spectre really wanted to leave bot lane tower because they knew that if Malrang was on that side of the map, it was a very easy dive for Koi to execute. So they do give up plates there. 3 tower plates have fallen to the Koi bot lane, but no substantial gold lead for them because of the kill on Jack Spectre and the extra plates they got from that Rift Herald charge.
I like this though. They move Jack Spectre and Mercer into mid.
Yep.
And the idea is that with your numbers advantage, what you can do is you can get Prio in mid to then move into the bot side jungle, which they then set up very nice vision control. There's a gank now happening onto Jack Spectre, but he will be able to sidestep that one, as I was saying. So the idea is you get Prio with your numbers advantage with the bot lane, then you move in, you get these 2 wards in to get a little bit of information, and then you threaten the dive on the bot tower while also securing plates. Overall, nice bit of macro there from Heretics. Just good setup on the map. And they're able to secure one last plate before the plates do in fact fall. Securing themselves now a 2k gold lead. A lot of it sitting on the primary carries of Heretics. Overall, good stuff and just a severe lack of any early game playmaking from Koi. Often when we would see early game advantages from them last split, it was Malrang finding creative ways to navigate vision and find opportunities across the map, but so far this game he has been unable to do so. No dives really threatened, no ganks really found, And this early game has just been a steady advantage gain for Heretics. But Heretics have this habit of finding early game leads. We've seen them do it in the past. It's the mid game, really, where things start to falter. A couple of individual mistakes can sometimes crop up. Someone can overextend. Maybe they mis-execute on a fight or a play. And the opposition have found ways to come back. Inconsistency. Well, I would say it is quite consistent in terms of how they play.
Poor play.
Yeah. And we're still looking for Heretics to convert that mid game into a winning performance. Of course, they didn't have the worst split ever last split, but
it was a growing split for them, right? It's what they always said when they made the roster. They were like, this is a spring split. In winter, if we do okay, that's fine. Here, the start of their spring against G2 is a bit of a hard benchmark to hit, but here with 2 dragons against Koi, 3-0 up. Koi yet to take a tower, yet to get a kill, yet to really secure anything on the map. I mean, they did get that Rift out, so doing them a slight disservice by saying they've had nothing, but not as much, definitively, as Team Heretics. Quickness. Lightning Crash coming out as well. Evie was coming in from the side. Comp has to flash away. The quickness still going to land him onto Maurang with the Cyclone coming in as well. Comp's already dead and Maurang's next stop. Heretics find 2. Jankos finds 2. And Heretics now 5-0 up as Ruby looks for a little bit more. Bubble's going to hit. Shigenda turns it around. The first kill of the game for Koi over to their top lane.
And these are some of the individual mistakes that we'll see from Heretics, but overall, a good play and a net advantage as they find 2 kills in the mid lane. A nice engage from Mercer, threatening onto Comp, forces him to flash, which means that because Mercer didn't actually burn the W, he's able to catch Maurang off guard. You can see here Comp trying to push in the wave, Mercer procs the quickness, but he quickly turns his attention over to Maurang and then gets that knock up. Comp is forced underneath the tower, which then sets Jankos up nicely to land the 2-man ultimate. And why Maurang is able to land an ultimate onto Jack Spectra, the real threat is Jankos, who's able to walk away with the double.
Really nice hold of the W as well from Mercer, not only for Comp, but also waiting for the Q from Maurang, because that can knock you out of your W. So by waiting for it, he made sure that he could lock down Maurang, give Jankos the time to follow up with the Cyclone. And Heretics now with a 2,000 gold lead, 17 minutes in. Ebby, Gale Force already complete on him. Shigenda stepping forward, not realizing. There's a Barbarian lying in wait. Shigenda knocks him back, takes a couple of tower shots. Ghost out from Ebby, TP now used. Heretics might look for a little bit more here because Maurang's on his way and Ebby doesn't want any piece of that action. He'll sacrifice the tower to make sure that he gets out alive.
Makes sense. The cross map is going to happen from Heretics regardless. You can see them already committing to this deep bot side vision. Look at all these wards that they've successfully been able to set up, which means that TPing to the top side of the map is makes a lot of sense for Koi as they're able to secure a tower after Ebby tries his best to protect it. But this vision setup is beautiful in terms of protecting Ruby and giving him all the information that he needs to do what he wants in a side lane. Observer's highlighting for us. He literally has a pentagram of wards around him right now. So he makes his way back up towards mid. But unlikely that they'll be able to convert it into anything significant. Now it's about catching some of these waves, maybe going back, spending some of the gold that they have. Jankos will run into Larson. Doesn't want to take that fight though, going to disengage.
I mean, the thing for Heretics is they can just wait for Cloud Soul if they want, or at least the next Drake. They're going to try and push in this mid lane tower, but you don't need to overinvest into this. Let that 1-3-1 start to take effect. You can see Shigenda down towards the bottom side trying to push out the wave, but also a slight struggle for Heretics is the fact it is a Cloud Soul, and it's not the most impactful, especially when you've invested time into getting these 2 early Drakes. Seeing the Cloud pop up is not the most fruitful result of your endeavors, but still, it's like an 80% win rate in solo queue or something.
Those are all really great points.
Oh, here we go.
I get reported for rage all the time.
Draven.
But try as you might, I'll never die.
Oh, Trindamer.
With it, yeah, okay. It was an easy one. Thought you'd like that one though, because it was relative to the game, you see. Ha 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 ha.
Good one, man.
Do you know that's fun fact to the audience? We did the merch shoot for the LEC not too long ago, and I shared with Medic my trick to getting into a good mood to take a photo, and you can use this all at home. You basically use your most exaggerated fake laugh to raise spirits. So, for example,
raise spirits or cosplay the Joker.
Well, now you have a smile on your face. You see, it always.
But I always have a smile on my face when I get to work with you, buddy.
That's not true. Don't believe his lies.
If that was put down here in the mid lane, Reaper's going to try and chunk it out beforehand. Inside Jack Spectra, can't get it. The charge still comes in.
I can't believe you have them like putty in the palm of your hands. I love working with you, Betty. Yeah, all right. We lived together for 2 years. I know the truth. This man showered at 7 in the morning. Who showers at 7 in the morning? Was that a woo?
The thing is, it was either I woke up early or I just got back, right? It was one of the two. I'm no longer the vagabond I once was.
The vagabond. Good times.
Yeah. They work, see? They work at times.
Yeah, they were fun.
They were.
Just like this dragon's about to be.
You
Right?
coming
Are we
into
about
my
to get a
room and
party on
ask
the
me questions, medical questions?
Are we about to get a party on the beach around
Let's
this
do it.
dragon?
Vamos a la playa.
Shigenda.
Shigenda,
Shigenda. Stop saying random Spanish words. Shigenda has TP. He's not going to use it though. He's just going to walk up. The battle over the wards. Heretics are in a really awkward spot, by the way.
Oh, Yankees chunked out as well. Shigenda with 2 items is going to do a lot of damage with that poke.
Koi gets pushed on the mid wave, which will give them access into the river. They're making sure that Comp is safe to push that one in, which is exactly what he'll do now. They'll move into the river. Looks like Heretics, though, don't want to fight this for the time being. Are they threatening a Baron? I mean,
calling onto Mercer will stop that threat for the moment. Down to half HP.
No one is starting the dragon as of yet. Heretics have
on his way.
Completely given that one up. All right, now they will start off this objective, and they're worried about Heretics potentially going over towards that Baron. You can see the question mark pings coming down on the minimap. But Mercer losing too much health. They're going to disengage. The dragon will be conceded for free. And instead, both teams will just look at each other.
And this is one of the things you mentioned about Heretics. Like, sometimes their mid-game doesn't come up to snuff, you know?
I mean, maybe they just feel at this point in time, Koi is stronger.
Yeah.
Maybe that's just what they feel. They don't want to run the risk of going for a fight over a Cloud Drake that it's not worth. I mean, their position was awkward. They would have to force fight in a choke point, which wasn't great. So I understand why they decided to just concede it for the time being.
They do have a very strong combination, composition if they want to force a fight, you know. Wukong going in,
sure,
the follow-up from Rakan as well.
You look at those Jace items.
Yeah, I do.
That's annoying. At this point in the game, especially. Maybe they were just like, you know what, let's just wait for Jack Spectre to get his second item.
Yep.
You know, let's just buy a little bit more time. Larssen will check this brush.
Crit one, looking for more. Quickness coming out, Larssen just sprinting away. Doesn't want any piece of that. Dives back into Ebby. Undying Rage going to be used here by Ebby. Larssen trying to put the damage down, trying to wait out that ultimate as well. And with the stopwatch, he'll do exactly that. No tower here for Heretics. Cyclone from Yankos, knockup from Mercer. Glacial Prison hits Mercer. He's still got one more E if he can get away for the stun. The CC. Mercer surviving, but Shigenda diving in. 2 kills to Shigenda, 1 more to Trimby. And now the Baron very much on the cards.
And just like that, we see the blunder from Heretics as Koi will secure a Baron. Great play from Larssen. He buys just the right amount of time, baits Ebby and Yankos into overextending as the rest of Koi find a quick collapse. They convert it into 3 kills and will now secure themselves the Baron. It was a good early game. Things looked very positive for Heretics, but they will quickly be punished. Jack Spectre getting TP'd on.
TP coming in. Trimby's going to try and delay him. Does have the slows. Larssen coming forward as well. Steers away the lightning crash. The culling as well. And the Immortal Shield Bow is not that at all. Very mortal. Here's Jack Spectre as he does fall.
And I just want you to keep your eyes on the minimap as we see this happening, because Larssen is just buying time, and look at how quickly this collapse is coming through from the rest of Koi. Yankos realizes that it's happening. He's trying to help protect Ebby though, and while Ebby can create the space, the collapse is too fast. You can see the Jace moving up as well, and it's just overall a big overextension. Larssen was safe in that execution. The blast cone setting up for Shigenda, who's able to land a massive shock blast and secure the much needed kills for Koi to convert this into a Baron. And it's unfortunate for Heretics because this is exactly what we were talking about.
Yep.
Those mid-game mistakes we often see from them, that single play that can cost them so much. And Koi primed, poised, and ready to punish.
And now with the Baron for the next 2 minutes, you can see the gold entirely swung in their favor. Only about 1,000 ahead, but still in a very strong position as they push in.
That ain't it.
He was looking for something.
Tell you right now,
Tidal
that was
wave
not
used
it.
for it, at least, I guess.
The moment he threw that realm warp out, I was like, yeah, there's no shot anybody's taking that.
It's just so difficult for Heretics to actually answer this at all. Level disadvantages as well. Larssen 16 to Ruby's 14.
Yep.
Ebby only level 14 as well. Shigenda's already got up towards that 15 mark, and the poke that comes out from Shigenda, the follow-up that can come out from Larssen, very difficult for Heretics to find an avenue to approach this game. And how do you deal with the siege, Heretics? A minute left on this Baron, already 4,000 extra gold pulled off it. They dive onto Trimby, who flashes away. The chase is there, the quickness coming out. Mercer trying to get onto Morris. Koi now all hail the defensive. They get Jack Spectre with the Glacial Prison. He flashes away, it just survives. Yankos low as well, though. The Ultra Shock Laser coming out. Ebby diving in. Undying Rage, he spins back out. Mercer blocks the shot, but he blocks it with his life. Larssen getting turned back around on. Ruby getting knocked up by Maorang. Shigenda still has the damage on the side here, still has that Baron buffs as well. There's Ebby just short of that shot blast. Heretics able to defend their base. I don't think they lost an inhibitor tower, but they did pay for it with blood.
Ended up being a 1-for-1 between the supports. Koi, though, gained so much on the map, securing those 2 towers. And we can have a look back at this. The engage is good from Heretics. I like the play from Yankos. The initial knock-up, the follow-up from Mercer is enough to provide the CC for Jack Spectre. Look at that response from Comp, though. Really the cleanse into flash immediately as Mercer rather, jumps on top of his face. He then has to get away to safety as he sees that Ebby is chasing him down. Jack Spectre being forced back by Larssen. Comp, look at this stun that comes through from Maorang at just the right time, keeping Ebby chain CC'd to allow Comp to escape. And then Larssen was aiming for Ebby, ends up being Mercer that tanks it, resulting in, as we mentioned earlier, both supports losing their life. So the Baron will now disappear.
Okay, Heretics is the worst trade deal if you do this. Okay, Koi have decided not to push in, but if Heretics had invested everyone towards this top side of the map and Koi had just pushed through mid, that would have been an inhibitor at least. Koi will go for the dragon instead.
Exactly that. Baron not until 2.5 minutes. Yankos has spotted Trimby.
Shirelius. Yankos going forward. Trimby's just dead. No escape for him out of this play. Heretics able to find a pick. A good ward just in the mid lane there. Finds its mark. The dragon will be secured by Maorang, but Heretics able to delay the game for a little bit longer. Maorang should blast Cone out of this one. Comp, no flash on him, no cleanse either. Mocking Shout will get the slow. The quickness coming in as well as Mercer looks for the chase. Culling being used, but there's the quickness, there's the CC. A stun underneath the tower. It's only Yankos Rumble coming in as well as Heretics try and turn this one around. Now Shigenda's going to join from the top side, and they have to dodge and dip and dive away. Instead, the quickness in by Larssen finds 2. Flashes away, but Ebby turns it around. Ebby, Undying Rage still available to him. He's looking for the dive, the redemption coming out, but he can just dive these towers for years. A double for Ebby, and Heretics somehow find a breath of life.
I can't believe what I'm watching right now. It felt like that this game was done and dusted. It felt like Koi was in firm control, but Heretics, they find that initial pick onto Trimby. Then they move into the bot side jungle, knowing that Maorang needs to get away to safety. They catch Comp on the red buff, and they know that with their chase, they can secure this kill. But they're diving a tower. You think that the collapse would be good, especially with Silas on his way in. He steals away Mercer's ultimate. And notice how he's basically just going to get focused very quickly by the rest of Heretics, who are just stacked as a 5-man. He's going to land a great charm, good damage from Shigenda, but they don't have any damage left. Maorang isn't really involved in the fight. Larssen just basically dives into his own death. Maorang then gets chased down. And what was that? 3, 4 kills? Oh, 4 kills for Heretics. Just like that. So now the game returns to a dead even state.
You got a riddle for us? Nah, jokes.
It has been quite the game indeed. It seems that Koi not off to the start that we expected. I thought that they would continue their momentum, resolve some of the issues that we saw from them at the beginning of last split. In the best of ones, the former champions of best of ones do not seem to be maintaining that level of performance right now, as Heretics have found ways to bounce back in this game.
So what have we got coming up next? 20 seconds on the Baron. You can see Heretics have a little bit of vision around it, but that's going to be swept out. Ward in the back of the pit should be picked up by any control wards that Koi want to put down. Instead, Jimmy just going in with the sweep, who are now all in Koi's control. Heretics do have that mid-tier 2 quite low. They could push forward through the mid lane, try and get the prio there, trying to get that tower down. They don't have vision on the pit at all, and the Baron has now spawned. Ebby still only level 15. Doesn't really matter too much on the Tryndamere, the level 16, as far as I recall. Don't really need the tier 3 ultimate. But we'll see what he can do in this next fight. Black Cleaver, Navori, Gale Force are his itemization choices. 3 items still on Shigenda though. Shavilda's now finished for him. Mercer taking a bit of chip damage as well. Not too tanky on that. Vakar means that he can't survive too many of those accelerated shock blasts. Control ward in the back of the pit will mean that Heretics know it hasn't been started by Koi.
Koi moving into the top side of the map, looking to contest some of this vision as Heretics approach the Baron. A good damage onto Mercer from Jigenda will force him to go back to base. This gives space for Larson to move in. Jankos takes a bit of a cheeky trade. The damage looks good. Ruby now matching levels with Larson after the deficit he found himself in earlier. Very close to that death cap. I'm sure the Heretics would love to get that item before the Baron is started. Oh, can't quite secure that control ward sitting in the back of the pit. Comp should be able to clear that one out though, no problem. You can see him getting 1 damage crits there. It was critting, I saw.
It was. Heretics though now have to regain control around this Baron pit. Control ward goes in, they can back away. Rabadon's now finished for Ruby. You can see that gold even out a little bit. That single fight for Heretics down towards the bottom side of the map has equalized affairs. A minute on the Cloud Drake as well would be soul point for either of these teams. And although Heretics got the first 2, they haven't been able to secure a dragon in about 15 minutes or so.
The dance happens once more.
We're Vamosing out a player. I do like the dance, Fetty.
Maybe gonna throw a chicken at Larson. That is in fact what happens when that skill occurs.
It's like mocking shout, isn't it? It's like the taunt from a bard.
Yeah, you'd think it's weird that
Father
he just
smells
throws
of
a chicken.
elderberries. That's what he's shouting.
Your mother was a hamster, I remember the line. Yes.
But for the moment, the team's just dancing back and forth.
That's good
Cullen
damage
going
from
out.
Com.
It's good damage, as you say, onto Mercer, onto Ebby. Ebby, of course, does have the Undying Rage. Ruby's trying to put some back of his own, but slight range advantage with the rapid fire cannon and the Jace for Koi. Shigenda could look for a flank position here. Jack Spectre chipped away at. Shigenda gets the Cerildus, turns it onto Ebby in the 1v1. Shigenda wins these. Undying Range popped by Ebby. He has to walk back to base. That will be the dragon for Koi. Shigenda on a carry. Really starting to have an impact in this game.
I mean, Jigenda just really did it all there. Poked Jack Spectre out of the fight.
Mercer.
Larson now in danger.
Going in with the quickness, Larson flashes away.
So a small advantage gain for Heretics. But overall advantage gained for Koi. Jigenda, he can go back to base, get his health back if he wants to, and has the TP ready for a Baron. But it's just been a lot of the teams looking at each other. Too afraid to make that mistake. Not the easiest front-to-back comps. Very much about trying to leverage side lanes in this game. They don't quite know where Koi are.
See Larson. Now they see them all with the Ultra Shock laser. But that damage.
Chipped away again though, and they should have that information, which means that they can just start off the Baron. The question is, are they going to do it? That they will. Koi, now begin.
Ebby has Undying Rage in 5 seconds time. Koi, keep that Baron aggroed. Anathema's Radiant Virtue tanky enough for Malrang. Ebby coming in here. Mercer's quickness, still about a third of the cooldown left.
Koi
Ekos on his way forward. Koi just keeps starting it, stopping it. They don't have...
Subtools when you use subdivision on resolution shift, something like that, and then but I hide that being the only thing visible part of your model. Feature action clean with the rest of your model, and then it's only going to Z-remesh this part in here. So I'm just going to make sure I have freeze border turned on, and then I'm going to come over here and click Z-remesher. Now after this process is completed, you're going to see that Earthquake has been brought back to his entire visibility here, and you can see that this portion of the mesh has now had that new topology applied. Now another thing you want to be careful of is if you're working with models with subdivisions and you're using this process here, it will delete your subdivisions. So you can see after I did the Z-remesher process, I no longer have 6 subdivisions on Earthquake. So just make sure that you're aware of that if you're doing this visible brush on Twitter.
enough deep vision to really know where Heretics are, and there's such apprehension. So tentative here from Koi and Heretics. Don't want to start off your week with a 0-2.
Heretics, please do not start. Oh, they're going to start it. Okay, they're going to start this
Mercer's
against
going to look for a flank here. He's going to try and position up towards this bush, exactly where he is. Did Larssen see him? Did Larssen see him? I don't think he did, and the quickness is coming in. Larssen immediately charmed, and Mercer lies in wait and finds his mark. Evie going forward. Undying Mage has been popped. The Baron secured. Evie flashing straight onto Comp, but Comp will take him out 1-for-1 so far in the trade. Shigenda looking for more, but Heretics just trying to run for the hills, trying to get out of here, trying to get those Barons out. Redemption down. Shigenda with the stopwatch. Malrang on the front line, still healthy enough. Jankos is clone falls, but it's only his clone. Heretics still trying to do what they can. Shigenda still stepping forward. The Aggro Prism hits one. Jankos wants to stop. Watch Ruby so low. Mercer dodging and diving and dipping away. Everyone's so low, but Trimby is the first to fall. Jack Spectra surviving. Shigenda takes him out with the shutdown. Shigenda dashes forward. Ruby down as well. 2 Barons remain for Heretics. Jankos takes him. 1 Baron left for Heretics as Shigenda gets a triple.
Wow, what a close exchange. As Heretics, they walked away with the Baron limping as Koi was able to chase them down. Just out of vision, Larssen wasn't quite able to see Mercer. Timing really caught Larssen off guard there. And they're able to eliminate him from the very start of the fight. Ebby, though, on the back line, overcommits here, I feel. He needs to try and create space, but he actually dashes in, seeing that Ruby was following up. Flashes over the wall to hand over a kill to Comp, and at this point Shigenda is saying we can actually chase this. Malrang does take a lot of damage as he's trying to set up for Comp to dish out what he can. Malrang's then forced back, and you can see at this point the Comp of Shigenda is saying, hey, we can fight this. But Jack Spectra, with his ability to kite the stopwatches repeatedly coming through, create this crazy ebb and flow back and forth where Koi goes in, they have to disengage. They go in and then they disengage. But it's only really when Shigenda finds that initial kill that he feels confident enough to go for more. Mercer gets absolutely melted as he tries to assist his jungler, and it means that only 1 Baron is left standing. 9,000 damage is what Shigenda has to show for it.
Man, that Tryndamere in the top lane, he is a very angry man, but his rage is pretty futile in these sorts of situations. Ian Larssen having
minus 63 Baron power play for the time being. Jankos the only one with the Baron left. Ruby being sent to the top lane to push that wave out. This is a game.
It is, and it's 11:35 at night. It has to weigh on the players. Fatigue does start to have an impact at this sort of portion of a day. You know, scrim's very much over by this point, usually. And, for these teams, you can see a few mistakes, a few mechanical misplays coming in, a few macro errors. But who else but Jankos surviving with the Baron buff at the end? Yesterday it was solo carry for the team here. Baron hasn't really given them too much, but he does have a 3-level advantage over Malrang, which is not something too uncommon when people play against Malrang, because, you know, Malrang likes to gank, doesn't like to farm as much, or I shouldn't say he doesn't like to, he just doesn't do it. He might really enjoy it, and his team just wants him to gank. It's like, well, I will do what the team demands. Dragon up in 45 seconds though, Vedi. And you can see once again these teams are readying the war zone, setting up these lines of scrimmage, setting up these ward lines, trying to get whatever vision they can. Last time, it's difficult for Heretics to step forward in this sort of area. Shigenda stepping back, has the edge of night as well. Now,
he's pushing in bot. I mean, I guess it's fine, but Larssen's going to be right.
How fine is it? Like, everyone's collapsing. Everyone is on their way here. Larssen already there. Jankos trying to keep the rest of Koi away, but Ebby is going to be in a 1v4 very quickly. Mercer trying to join in as well. Heretics, I mean, Ebby is going to distract the entirety of Koi, and maybe they can take out the jungler in the meantime. The redemption is not enough. Ebby continues to distract. The stopwatch buys a little bit more time, but it's not going to be enough. 1-for-1 traded so far, but it's jungler for top laner, which makes the secure a lot easier for Heretics.
I mean, of course. It's about whether or not Shigenda can land this poke on the Jace. That'll be a big determining factor in how this fight plays out. Larssen does have the stolen Tryndamere ultimate. Good damage from Comp. The ultimate comes out from Trimby.
Jankos looking for the smite here. Will secure it. The chase is on. Larssen has the Undying Mage. Mercer already dead. Larssen onto Ruby. Shigenda there as well. Larssen trying to put the damage down to Jack Spectra. He gets one, but it's only Comp. Larssen with the Undying Rage, stealing it away. He survives. Shigenda low off towards the backside. Jankos looking for Trimby here as well. All of Koi battered, bruised, bleeding, but they still manage to get the kills. Trimby will fall. So will Ruby in the end. A 4-for-3 exchange with Heretics getting the Dragon, and Jankos looking for a little bit more. The TP coming in from Shigendo immediately, though. He's back to full HP, and Jankos realizes he's stuck between a rock and a hard place. The Cyclone used, Larssen healing up with the Kingslayer as well. There's a GA on Jankos, but that Guardian Angel can only look down as Jankos is about to go to hell. Larssen and Shigendo take him, the shutdown in, and 40 minutes into this game, there is 1,000 gold between the teams. They have the same amount of dragons, and they have the same amount of kills, Betty.
That they do, and let's look back at this great play from Comp. He sees a low health Mercer, and with the damage from Jigenda combined with the Gale Force E, Comp is able to find that execute. Ruby gets separated on the backside as Larssen just tears apart the front line for Heretics, secures the kill onto Jack Spectra.
So look how close Shigendo was to dying. Like, a little bit more damage on Ruby would have been enough.
But the sustain that Larssen has, the fact that he TP'd back in as well, Shigenda playing these fights incredibly well, has been absolutely massive for Koi in these exchanges. The Jace has just been doing so much work in the team fights. And Ebby, that fight really starting off with him getting caught in the bot lane. Now they're being forced out of their own jungle. The Blastcone will take them to safety. The Baron spawns in 20 seconds. This game has been long.
It's been the longest game of the split.
I mean, that's not hard,
There have only been
admittedly.
10 games, yes, admittedly.
And
Ebby.
it's been a strange back and forth affair. Both teams have made plays, one could say. Look at Jankos. Look at Jankos with this flank. They've put a ward there to try and see it, but Jankos, I think, has found the angle.
Realm going in as well. Mercer's going to be put onto the back line. The quickness, they're looking for Comp, but immediately he cleanses and gets away, and Mercer's already dead. Jankos trying to do what he can as well, but he's got no GA to save him, and he will fall. And Heretics, they made a play, but Koi just jumped right on him. 2 quick kills over to Koi, and they will turn their eyes to the 3rd Baron of the game.
That should be done and dusted for Koi. I like the idea from Heretics, but Koi, in that funnel, made it too easy to turn and burn, and they're able to get that kill onto the front line, the primary engage, and walk away with the Baron. And Jack Spectra, he should be fine. Look at the damage that has come out from Jigenda this game.
Pretty efficient damage from him as well, or effective damage.
Quite effective damage indeed. He has been instrumental in the outcome of this game, and let's see if Koi can finally end things. You can see the idea here. Mercer gets sent into the flank, a good flash, and good CC thrown onto Comp, but he immediately cleanses, hides behind the safety of Larssen. Malrang in a bit of an awkward position really to start off the fight, but it doesn't matter as Larssen is acting as that tank. Wasn't even forced to burn the Tryndamere ultimate. And now they have the Baron. Now they need to siege.
And it really feels like when we have these fights where it's more traditional front to back, it's Koi's advantage, right? Every time it's been a, hey, you guys, we'll face off in the mid lane. Who wins? Koi tends to win. Heretics win when they find picks, win when they find Ebby, maybe caught out in a side lane, and then they collapse on it, and it's a bit more messy, it's a bit more skirmishy. The question is, how can you make a fight like that happen? Often they are just organic. They just come out of situations in the game. Heretics now on the back foot as they try and defend against this Baron. It's up for another 2 minutes time, this buff for Koi. They look for Ruby. Comp takes a chunk. GA still on its way back off cooldown for Jankos. Still a quarter of the timer on that. He is stunned up for a second. Ebby trying to get some damage down onto Malrang, but not really the squishiest target in the world, as this top lane inhibitor tower will be Koi's prize for their poking and their prodding. And alongside it, the inhibitor will fall.
Base has finally been broken, and the final dragon of the game will be spawning in 40 seconds. Koi return to base as we set up for what I imagine, right, will be the final fight of the game.
Yeah, but I think if Heretics win it, it might not be.
Oh no. Oh no, oh no,
Mercer.
no.
Okay, Mercer's doing what he did last time. The flank position, find a way around it. Now Malrang doesn't realize that Mercer's here. Malrang goes in with Glacial Prism, but immediately he's locked up with the quickness, and he's gonna go down with the quickness too. Heretics find another kill, and once again, it's off the back of Mercer on a flank.
Oh no, oh no. Koi have lost their Ebby!
Okay, that's a GA. Tidal Wave comes out. He's just baiting for the ultimate. Aqua Prism was too early as well. The Undying Rage. Larssen dived in. Oh my goodness gracious. He pops his own Undying Rage. The stopwatch buys a second, but it's not going to buy enough. The shutdown to Jankos. And I said Heretics wanted to skirmish, wanted to fight. They find it. Comp dashes in. takes down the clone.
Wait, Jack Spectra, he's on the dragon.
Jack Spectra is on the dragon.
But Ruby's gonna die.
Ruby is so low. The culling being used. Ebby half of his cooldown back for the Undying Mage. Ebby will use the blast cone. The dragon secured. Cloud Soul. Woohoo! For Heretics. But Shigenda's still on the chase.
Run, Heretics, run,
They've got
Shigenda.
Cloud Soul. They're so fast,
They're
man.
so
You can never
fast.
catch them
Oh,
now.
well, can they? No,
Oh no,
Ebby,
Ebby,
no.
you're on a ward,
Run, Ebby, run!
You're on a ward. He pops the Edge of Night with the Mocking Shout, though. Great stuff by him to get rid of that spell shield, and everything's got a little bit wacky, a little bit loopy, and that's what Yankos loves to thrive in. Ebby now coming onto the backline, Undying Rage being popped. Aqua Prison's gonna hit on Yankos as Ruby steps forward, Shigenda going in, Undying Rage. Ebby held it. Ebby held it, and now he pops it. He turns onto Comp.
Why are you going in?
Well, he has to do something. He's stunned up. He's locked down. And in a series of unfortunate events, eventually Ebby dies. Yep, it's almost midnight. I can feel it. Double inhibitors down now. Mercer has the quickness, has the flash. Jack Spectra has the GA full items on this ADC. Yankos looking for comp, but that GA is yet to be popped after he bought it all that time ago. Larson running down the mid lane, trying to join his team. Ebby still 30 seconds away, and with the super minions pushing in and the Cullen going out and the Glacial Prison hitting the Ruby, almost dead. Ruby will go down. The charm going onto Comp, it immediately cleanses it away, and now it's Yankos, Jack Spectra, and Mercer against the world. And at the moment, the world is looking mighty strong. Super minions pushing in the mid lane. Oh, not quite
How do you
yet.
think Jack
Next
Spectra
wave.
can hold this, though? Like, Ebby spawns back in 10 seconds time. They're going to keep interrupting the bases
that's
so that
good.
Shigenda can't
No
TP
TP
back.
back.
But they're also keeping it one wave at a time, which should be more than enough wave clear for Jack Spectra. Just needs to... Oh, engage on
Cyclone
Yankos.
going in, Comp there. TP coming in as Yankos' clone gets taken low once again.
Here's
Ebby
Ebby.
rejoins. 3 minions left, but the Runans will proc those. That went. How did that dodge? They all just like stepped to the side of it and went straight through them. Heretics. A little
Look at
bit
the
of
wave in
luck
bot
on
lane.
their side. The
Now,
wave now
Koi
pushing
have
in.
another
Medic.
wave that they want to try and take advantage of. Medic, you take a breather. It's fine. I'll play the next fight.
Please don't.
It's all good. Don't worry about it, mate. I've got you. Ebby
Ebby
goes
throw.
in! He's going in! Oh, he's forced to pop the Undying Rage, and he's straight back out again! That's going to be the tower for Koi. That's going to be the third inhibitor falling.
Ebby, what
Ebby,
on
man.
earth, man?
What are you doing?
I understand anger, man, but just like calm the Undying Rage a tad. Bring it back.
They
Mercer's
see
looking for the
me.
flank again. Oh, no way has he actually got all the way through it. Mercer, what?
I'm
Okay,
hiding.
you know, like, where in the world is Carmen San Diego and where's Wally? We should do it where on earth is Mercer.
Mercer's found Larson.
Finds Larson.
Well,
Larson's-
hang on, Larson.
he had the quickness, so he just used the quickness to go through Mercer. Does mean that ultimate is down. Marion was off towards the top side. Now, Heretics have no inhibitors.
True.
However, they have a Cloud Soul, Betty.
Yeah, they do.
So we'll see what that does for them. The
Jack
Baron
Spectra,
up in
Yankos.
10 seconds. Yankos chipped away at.
Ebby,
Okay, Ebby,
you spin me right round, baby.
like a record.
No, not that song. Right, you spin me right round, baby, right round, like a record. Oh, right. I forgot the rest of the lyrics.
I tried to work with you, Betty. Yankos going
Yankos.
once again. Comp trying to get away. The stun, the Glacial Prison solves the quickness. Jack Spectra going in.
Oh.
The knock-up is beautiful. Comp into the GA. Ebby trading with Larson down towards the bottom side. Now can Comp get away? Can he somehow dodge away from this one? He can't. GA popped. Comp down. Super minions so ready.
Oh my
in
god,
the
the super
base.
minions are right. Larson has
Larson
the TP.
has teleport, and there's so many super minions in the base now. Ebby has gone back. Trimby and Shigenda here. Ruby doing the damage. Mercer going in. Shigenda already down. The Baron next up. Mauran could steal this.
Ruby, you got a
Larson's TPing
TP.
in.
Ruby, you got a
Larson is
TP.
TPing in. Ebby
Oh,
has
the
no
tower
Undying
dies.
Rage. The tower dies. Ruby can't get there in time. And you can take the Baron, Heretics. Because Koi will take the win.
Ruby TP to the tower.
was a great performance from the entire team. And on the opposite side, we've seen from SK Gaming as well, especially day one, immaculate team fighting, Irrelevant really popping off, really showing up. And this is a matchup where, again, when you looked at these rosters at the start of winter, you might not have known where to focus, you might not have been super excited, but coming into today, I feel like we can look anywhere and we have an interesting matchup based on what we saw. That said, bot lane remains the most interesting to me by far. Had to say by far because we're going to talk about AD carries here. Saksa. Exekick DOS versus Kabe Jianghun. I mean, already we're seeing 3 AD bans. These are the guys who have the potential to carry their teams, who have been star performers. 2 AD carries who are fighting to be in top 3 right now, I think it's safe to say, alongside Upset and Hansama based on the performances we've seen thus far.
Wow, look at all these AD carry bans. Xayah, Varus, Zeri, Lucian, Caitlyn all taken off. What does that leave? Sivir, Ezreal, Aphelios, Draven are like the next in line of AD carries that we'll see. Looks like Markoon will be on tank duty as his goes towards the Sejuani. I think it's his most played next to Vi. And I think the importance of Vi might drop slightly with things like Zeri being out, Lucian being out, these mobile AD carries that you need to lock down, so they value tank and engage over everything. Oftentimes here you'll see things like Jace Flex, Gragas Flex, Veigar Insta locked in there.
Veigar.
Alongside the Vi as well. Will be a good setup.
Now, while it is a giant meme that Leader only plays melee champions, that is what we've historically seen him tend towards. So seeing an instant lock Veigar here...
This is a Veigar flex, I think.
It is. It must be, because I'm not ready to call it mid laner yet. Support? Is that the angle here? I don't know what you've seen in solo queue so far.
I think it's probably AD carry Veigar flex, because I remember Kobe used to play a lot of Veigar bot, and I know that Kobe has always been a pretty proficient mage player on the bot side of the map. So. And Leader's champion pool is very AD heavy, so having AP somewhere else, especially on bot lane, is great. If they can play some kind of like Veigar Gwen or something along those lines with a Z, that would be Astralis bread and butter skirmish heavy. It was in the BLG series today, Yagao was playing Veigar. It looks so strong when you have champions like Gnar even, anything that can knock them into the cage.
And I think the big thing here too, as well, is that the premier duo that is left on the table, based on what we've seen over the last few days, is Aphelios Thresh, but the Thresh Lantern is just essentially hard countered. And you talked about pulling someone into the cage, and I think you're right. I think your read is completely correct. Now, of course, Kabe played the Veigar last summer. Shout out to our stats team for getting us the stats there pretty quick, but this is a ruthless combo. If any hook hits you, the cage is guaranteed to hit you. If the cage comes down and you get out of it, you can get hooked back into it. This is merciless.
SK should know this is 100% Veigar Pyke bot. Like, you don't pick Pyke like that if you're not playing with a self-sufficient like mage wave clear champion, unless they are playing something like Veigar mid with Ziggs. You can see the Aurelia bans already. They read it. They know Kobe is going onto that Veigar. It's a bit of a fake flex, I think, when you have players like Leader and Kobe on your team, because Kobe likes it, Leader's not really played it at all. So SK won't fall for that trap. I'm yet to be surprised. If they do put it mid, I'll be very surprised, but we'll have to see what happens. But I'm really excited for this draft already. The execute damage on Astralis already is absurd. Pyke Veigar, if you're within the threshold, instantly gone.
And if you're not, you're going to get to the threshold pretty damn quick with the amount of easy setup. These 3 champions alone should be able to kill Aphelios in any and every team fight, assuming they get close enough. And I think that's part of the reason why the Scion is now banned away, is they do not want to give SK the avenue to fight front to back, to be comfortable. GP taken out 2. I like SK taking that one away because, again, Finn has shown excellent performances in winter, but also this is something that a champion like Veigar could really struggle with. You get caught out by a GP ult, you don't really have the mobility to get away from any champion that wants to dive onto you.
What do you pick here? Jace would be quite nice. Do you want to flex Jace? Yeah, Jax also works pretty nice. I think countering mid is important. See where this Annie goes. Give Leader all the tools he needs to find a pick into it. See what Irrelevant matches it with. Often we see Gragas into Jax, Gnar, something that can just go even. You never really see any kind of explosive matchups. Fiora is something Irrelevant could opt into, but it's a bit of a risky matchup to go in towards. It's more of like an Eastern answer. Ornn is another one if you just want to play a raw tank. They have got an immobile mage, but it's actually going to be Sejuani top by the looks of it. And they're going to put Markoon on the Lee Sin jungle. Now that opens up things like Ahri here, and Talia especially, for Certus if he wants to go towards a control kind of style alongside the Lee Sin to pair well. We'll have to see. It could also be any mid.
Is he a Lee Sin solo lane enjoyer? I'm inclined to agree with you. So 20 top feels like the safer bet. Obviously, it was popular in metas past. And so now, again, we're going to see the Rakan come out for DOS. This was a massive factor in their win on day 1. Massive team fight, team play, engagement. All those options is now Leader debating here. Yone is like at 20-30% magic damage, so it doesn't hurt too much. You've got a lot of champions, Jax and Yone both going to do a little bit of magic damage, but I think it should be more than enough AD alongside a Pyke to be fine. Instead, the Sylas now coming out. You got a lot of good ults to take away.
Interesting. I think maybe a little bit more on the AP side than they would have wanted, because Jax does have a nice little bit of magic damage there as well, and they're not playing an auto attack damage champion.
Yeah.
Oftentimes when you have a comp with a mage bot lane, you want to play something that can actually burn Nash down with DPS. An auto attack based champion, Tristana Lucian mid was the old school way of doing it. Now they don't have something like Yasuo or Yone to like on-hit crit to get things like the objectives down, so that's going to hurt them a little bit, but their skirmish will be good, their team fights will be good, they have a lot of control. I think Leader has a lot of good ults to take away, but his champion innately, they have quite short range, so he should be able to find his way onto the backline.
Incredibly short range. This has to be, I mean, Veigar is going to give you a little bit of protection with the cage to walk up for only himself to auto-attack the tower. This is going to be a little bit tricky if they cannot snowball a lead. If we get to a point where SK can maybe secure a Baron, this composition can fall apart very quickly. They don't have good wave clear, but as you highlighted, 3v3 skirmishes early, these first heralds, these first objectives, it's going to be so hard for SK Gaming to match in terms of just the sheer amount of utility coming out from these champions on the Astralis side.
And I think we're already seeing in the first week here that Leader's champion pool kind of unlocks Kobes a bit, because he can play these mages, but if you have a mage mid player, it's really hard to play mage spot because he doesn't want to lean into these skirmish heavy champions. And the meta is so kind of fluid right now that you can play whatever you want. Even Closer in sandboxes playing things like Irelia mid.
Yeah.
So you can play anything in any situation if you think it's a good angle, and Leader has all of these pocket picks that pair well with mage bots, so I think their drafting has just become a little bit easier when it comes to flexes. Quite easy to read into sometimes though, but it does get you some of these weird skirmish heavy drafts.
Wow! From the USA, welcome to EMEA, welcome to Berlin, and welcome to SK Gaming versus Astralis, our first, and I'm going to say best matchup of the day.
First place versus first place.
And you know what? I'm just going to call it out right now. Jonghoon, Halo Blades, Pike, if you pick anything else in solo queue, you're a baby. You're a little baby, and you should be braver and pick Halo Blades.
They're trying to cheese the Sejuani. I saw this, I don't know if it was in the LCK, but there was an Ignite TP Sejuani top, and they always tried to go for a level 1. In their game, it did work. Because obviously they're not running flash, right? It's just an easy kill if you can get any CC on them, but then it looks like they're not able to pull that off. Nice idea. Won't result in anything.
Not able to force Irrelevant to take an unoptimal skill either. So just a bit of an information trade. DOS does manage to get that vision down. We'll see where 113 starts, but the second that ward is placed, you know where the jungler is starting.
And I think it's always fun to look at the minimap. You just saw 113 ping Raptors, red Krugs. Red pings on the bot side jungle of Marcoon. I think he's just guessing what he's going to do. Might be right, actually. If he does something like red Raptors, Krugs, anything along those lines, go towards bot. But I think top side is where both these junglers should look to focus. The Lee Sin Sejuani can be pretty strong in the 2v2s. And a Pike Rakan lane doesn't have that much kill pressure, I feel like. They're both quite mobile supports.
Yeah.
Unless you can lock down the enemy carry.
Level 1 can be very impactful for the Pike. If he does connect on a hook, that and Halo Blades is often lane defining, but normally you see Pike paired with a champion who can do a little bit more at level 1. Veigar, Aphelios, both pretty trash as far as level 1 damage output goes.
Important to note here on the bot side, matching skins for Astralis.
Love to see it.
Both rocking the green.
People underestimate when you queue up for duo queue, but you really need to have matching skins. Just get a chroma. You know
Get a chroma. I think Jonghoon and Kobe definitely talks about it. Is that a Pike chroma? I think it is a Pike.
It's Pike chroma. Yeah, that's a chroma.
Yeah. And then it's the Veigar skin, obviously. I think Jonghoon was looking for a hook there, but he realized if I hook DOS and he W's on my AD carry,
yeah, you're in trouble.
Could be a bad trade. So not going to opt into that. Marcoon's gone for red into a clear top side, and 113 will be matching that.
Yeah. Lane matchup feels just a little bit awkward on the bottom side, just because Aphelios feels pretty good at level 2. Rakan maybe would want the level 3. It's a similar story for Kabe as well. But I think once level 3 is coming out, we'll see a little bit more aggressive play there on the bottom side. For now, just checking in on the top lane matchup. Sejuani using some of those base stats, base tankiness to trade back with the Jax. 113 shows his face here, takes the ward out, will walk into Marcoon here.
I think in the long run, Marcoon wins because he has Conquer.
Yep, should do it.
He needs to keep his fight extended.
Continuing to auto-attack, needs to get away from the Q. Bit of a miscalculation here. Surtus now coming on the way up. Leader wants to take the fight, flash out to safety. Surtus going to be forced to flash as well.
Looks like the Vi actually has a lot of base damage in that level 3. I thought Lee Sin would be alright, but I think when you're both half HP or around 60%, the fight doesn't extend as long as you would want if you were both full HP. Now he's looking towards mid. Leader's going to look to connect the chain.
Surtus stunned up here. I think he's just going to have to flash out to safety. Is it even going to be enough space? Marcoon can jump in and shield, but I think he just dies too in the process. Is still going to go in anyway. Now trying to turn and burn. Excellent use of the Sonic Wave. Resonating strike, but Jonghoon is here. Jonghoon trying to be the difference maker. Surtus burning, ticking. Leader going to grab the kill, but he's got no mana. But just then, he's going to tick up. He manages to get a cookie, but this Pike is a dead man walking.
How long on the E cooldown? No Q on Lee Sin.
DOS going in.
There's the E.
Holds the E.
He doesn't have W, so he's a bit stuck here.
He can cue him back over their base wall. He's dead.
Is it an execute, though?
Good question.
I
1,
don't-
2.
No, it's
No. DOS gets it.
Wow, okay, nice turn there by the SK mid-jungle. I think Annie had the stun up on the W, got the double stun, and then Marcoon managed to burst straight through 113. Nice for Astralis to get the presence of mind onto leader, but yeah, Marcoon had a full stack Conqueror and was just shredding straight through them. That's going to be a really fed Lee Sin in this early game.
Good call on presence of mind there. And yeah, here we see, I mean, looks really bad initially, but this is one of the things you talked about with the Lee Sin.
Oh, close.
Once you get low, you get a lot of impact out of this Lee Sin Q.
Yeah, 113 tried to predict the flash of Certus, and he got the right idea in the direction. He just didn't have enough range on it, so he couldn't get the kill. And here, I think DOS, he has E. I believe he might have Q as well or something along those lines. I'm not exactly sure what spell he has, but either way, both supports are level 2. That just hurts Rakan more because he has 3 combat spells, whereas the Pike W is more for a gap close. So Marcoon's now up towards this top side. Contest over mid. Irrelevant pops the Ignite.
Flashing out safety, respect there from Finn. Knows that he'll get stunned up, pulling down to the rest of his team. Well, back away, but already a very explosive early game. 1.3k gold lead, almost entirely on the back of that bot side play. Level 2 still. For Jonghoon, not ideal. Again, you really, Kabe level 5. These supports are just refusing to lane.
You're gonna love to see it. Skirmish heavy around mid. I feel like leader is...
I would love to see him get level 3, personally.
and then leave the
And
lane,
then
so
leave,
he can
yes.
use all his spells.
There we go. Okay, now I'm back.
And he listened to you.
There it
now
is.
he's gone again. Off he goes on his wonderful walks around the map. And I think leader is just like... He's like a black hole in mid, you know, he just sucks everyone in. He's just permanently trading, super aggressive, and all supports have to come towards mid. We saw it in the G2 game. And I think we're kind of seeing the same thing here, just calling resources. 113 always loves to hover around. Certus no flash means that Jonghoon will likely visit mid. But he's just covering Kobe right now. DOS looking for some information as to where the Pike is.
Of course, the biggest difference right now, you see a pretty sizable gold lead for SK, but most of that money is in the back pocket of Marcoon, so he's going to be the player that we have to watch to try to snowball the lead that SK have been able to build thus far. The rest of the areas of the map are still very close. No significant item differences yet. Of course, normally when I look at, you know, kind of the Pike Vigar bot lane, I'm like, ooh, level 6, they're going to kill people, but Jonghoon's going to be level 4, maybe, when Kabe is level 6, so I think that plan of using the 2v2 for kill pressure might have to wait a little bit longer.
I think it's actually... I mean, Jonghoon will need level 6, but he's playing a really low econ Pike, isn't he? Look what he's doing now. He's running top. I think he knows there's a play coming. 4-man dive on the way to Finn. He's halfway to level 6, so he won't get access to that ultimate. Jonghoon's not enough to cover this.
That's actually
messed
big.
up. They messed that up, but I think they should be able to go for it anyway. Leader's way too far away.
On the way in, level 5 for Finn, can't get the extra stats. He's gonna try to body block what he can. Easy kill onto the Pike. Finn now gonna do it. He's gonna try to find a reset here, get away from the bear, but he's just trying to clear the wave. He knows he's already dead. Double kill on the top side for SK. Almost 3k now in the lead.
They are dominating this game here, SK. Leader has just arrived to basically do nothing anyway. Irrelevant will get the plate, he'll get a couple of minions here, and there's no cross map available. So Jonghoon could have been bot looking for a dive, but he tried to cover. 113 was on Gromp though, and that was just a clean execution from SK. The second they saw the Pike, they just instantly went onto the level 3 Pike. You talked about how, you know, vulnerable the Pike can be. One shot in a stun, and then drop the aggro, let Tibbers do the work, and then re-engage after tower aggro is reset and the damage is gone. So Astralis needs to look for some more plays here. They're not really getting involved in these skirmishes. It's SK just dominating the map. Marcoon on this Lee Sin. 4-0-1.
And I think, again, credit to SK, because we really were, when looking at these drafts, we recognized immediately the skirmish power that Astralis could bring to bear, but SK have matched and outmatched in so many circumstances now, resulting in this 2k gold lead. Ulti going to go a little bit wide, searches for the sidestep. DOS in the area. An excellent coverage once again from DOS here.
I see what you did there. To bear, because there's an any.
I didn't, but I'll take the credit. Thank you.
Hidden puns.
Gotta sneak 'em in
Subconscious puns. They're
everywhere.
They're the deadliest ones. Jonghoon level 4 still up towards his top side. 113 is dinged over to level 6. Certus has access to that Tibbers very soon. Looks like Astralis is just going to force it. Kobe is even making his way up here. So what does SK do? They try to match. Right now it looks like X-Kick's pushing out bot. Just going to give this one up by the looks of it. Go towards bot side, take Drake perhaps. Jonghoon's going to get some information. We'll find DOS. I think X-Kick can start melting through this tower with his guns.
Yeah, what guns does he have? That is
has
going to be the big
red-white.
question. Yep. Okay, well, he's going to murder this tower. You have insanely high attack speed the closer you are to your
Oh, yeah,
target.
so much ammo as
and,
well. Oh my god.
White gun, so
No, stop it.
there you go. Folks, if you have not seen this yet, this is your #1 Aphelios tip. Anytime someone tries to go to do Herald, just ignore them and take 3 plates. It's the easiest trade deal of your life. Vivelius and Tristana, two of the only champions in the game that can essentially just out-trade a Herald like this.
Yeah, maybe Jinx as well in some cases with the attack speed, but yeah, you're definitely right. Aphelios, Tristana are the ones you want to look out for. And for Astralis, it's a bit weird because Yonghoon doesn't really want to be bot because he's, I mean, look at the items on Kobe. He's just going full scaling, right? It makes a lot of sense. But he can't really get any fights rolling on the top side because they lose all lanes right now and they get pushed in. They have deep vision towards their jungle, which will slowly start to accrue and get worse and worse. Right now it's just on that top tri-bush, but the ward's slowly fading away. And they're going to get Dragon here now, SK. So as long as Relevant's playing safe, not getting too cocky, no cross map available again.
Difficult position they find themselves in. SK grabbed a couple plates on the bottom side, grabbed the Dragon for now, holding on to their gold lead. Of course, there is still a Herald in the back pocket.
Beautiful.
1-1-3. But yeah, you love this, don't you? A Rakan just standing there to be jumped to.
When you're just jungling and your support just starts pulling out the camps and like hits them with you, just feels so safe.
If you want that feeling, you could just play AD carry, where they have to hold the wave for you.
No, but then I have to
it's
like learn.
A yes sir, please sir, thank you sir kind of situation.
If I start maining AD carry, I have to learn how to whine.
Ah, yeah, that's true.
I'm not much of a whiner really, so I'm not sure if I can get that.
Okay, just say it one time with me. Support diff.
Support. I mean, that's jungle role as well.
Yeah, support diff. You just get practice saying it, but you gotta get the earnestness.
It's
in
more
there.
like gank bot.
Like support diff. You know.
Yeah.
Really let them know that you're no way at fault. Delusion is the core strength of an AD carry.
It is. I mean, look at both AD carries this game. They're just chilling. They're just farming waves.
It's actually so messed up because both these AD carries are good. Not these AD carries.
Yeah.
Solo queue AD
Solo
carries.
queue AD carries, yeah.
These AD carries are doing their job, and their job right now is to farm it up.
Should we play a game?
We could play a game.
Small one. Not a too crazy of a game. Yonghoon's level 4. He's about to be level 5.
Yep.
What time do you think he'll hit level 6 in the game? I'm gonna say 1350.
1350. I'm taking 1430.
Okay. All right. We'll see who's closer.
That seems impossible, actually, now that I've said it. That's so far away. All right.
Time flies.
Yeah.
It does.
When you're having fun.
Especially when you're dying in these top fights.
Irrelevant is not having fun. He's going to get knocked up and taken out there. 1-1-3, finding the play on the top side. Still has the Herald. Could look to lock it down. Marcoon now locked up. Clean combo coming in, Leader. He's got a stolen bear tethered to him.
Leader's bear.
Leader's bear.
It's fading away quite quickly, though. That's going to disappear.
Tibbers.
Oh my god, look what they're unleashing. A Herald, a Tibbers, Franken Tibbers. Just going to back away, couple plates. Is Leader in range? Did he walk up? He's going to walk up now and realize, like, hang on a second.
Leader's got this, doing this Pokemon trainer thing, man. He got a Herald, got a bear. He's really trying to catch them all right now.
All he needs now is a dragon, and that's spawning in 3 minutes.
Fair.
We saw the power of dragons yesterday, or Saturday, sorry.
True.
Perks on the Aurelion Soul. Yeah, so
Yeah,
Finn's just going to stop the base. Not sure if he
Okay,
wants to do
Finn! That might have been questionable. Quick flash out to safety.
that. Hashtag worth. So Yonghoon hasn't even gotten a tick of XP yet. Hang on a second.
Oh, there he's going back over the wall. 1-3, too little, too late. But the hook coming over, waiting, trying to buy a bit more time. Hook's DOS back, definitely not the ideal target. Not level 6 yet, but the flash through. Marcoon gonna make sure that he gets the stun. Marcoon still living.
How is he out? Is he out? DOS can block. Oh, he tried to get him with the E through the...
Oh my god.
They tried to pull him out.
No, it's so clean.
He tried to pull him out so that the 1-1-3 could land it. And he was also blocking. Tried to E him through it as well. Didn't get the kill. That's 800 gold that just slipped away.
DOS leaves no man behind. And now 1-1-3. Is he gonna go back in? Marcoon, you psycho. No. He's gonna resist.
Psycho.
You know his body was telling him yes.
Oh yeah. It's classic Lee Sin. You always just want to send it, pop the Gore Drinker, and hope you've got enough damage. Wow, Relevant's just taking a full top tower all the meanwhile.
And I gotta say, I was really ready for this to be about AD carry versus AD carry. We got this very pretty Exakick versus Kabe graphic, but this is jungle support versus jungle support, and Marcoon DOS.
Dude, they're just listening to payphone, like full blast. They can barely hear their teammates.
It's
just
a band
farming
of-
creeps,
band-
like
yeah.
tabbing in and out, watching series.
Meanwhile, these two are like fighting. There's like Army of Two. Do you ever play that game, like Xbox game? Just like back to
Xbox
back.
One, the first Xbox.
Guns a-blazing. You know, jumping in front of hooks, taking bullets for each other.
Left 4 Dead style.
Yeah, this is the
Fighting for their
dynamic
lives.
people dream of when they queue up for duo queue.
This really is a support diff, really, isn't it? You just sit there and they roam around the map. You close your eyes and open them, and you've basically won the game or lost it in the next 10 minutes. X-Kick pushing Yonghoon away. So he's a quarter of the way towards level 6.
It's 13 minutes.
Dropping all... Not really farming at all, is he? DOS is level 6.
Did you say 1350?
I said 1350, you said 1430.
1430.
Looks like we both might be wrong, unless he gets a couple more waves.
Oh, observers, do you know something I don't? Is he about to just get 6 here?
No. He needs 2 more waves on top of this one. He's very close. He needs 1 more wave, basically.
He's walking away from the XP. There might also be a dive here, but we're really
so
mired in our
invested.
bet.
But there might be a fight actually as well.
Doss could get caught out here. Gonna get hooked back, but does not get pulled over the wall. That's gonna be big. Doss now locked up. Should just get cut down here. No room to maneuver. And that is the pick potential of this Astralis comp.
Yep.
Finally coming through.
It is. Look at level 10 Aphelios, level 5 Pike. 14 minutes in. Trying to hover around bot side and get some wards down by looks of it. He has a pink in his inventory. Maybe they're trying to threaten some kind of dive if
Does
they
this
do
man
decide to walk
only
up.
want kill experience?
Oh my
Is
god,
he
I think
doing a
you're
challenge?
going to be bang smack on the money, Dracos. If he stays for this bot wave, you've landed it. 10 seconds on the next wave.
He's gonna leave.
He's going to base. Oh no.
He's gonna make fools of us all.
Oh no. He's just basically 2 creeps away.
He refuses.
Yeah, it's going to be 15.
This is like, okay, we've made too many references today, but you know when they have like the training vest on in Dragon Ball Z and they take it off? He's like
In the spaceship?
Yeah, exactly. He's just keeping the pre-level 6 Pike training vest on as long as possible.
He's going to do some thousands of press-ups on the spot
Yeah.
when that falls off.
That said, League of Legends works nothing like anime, so you're just weaker.
I don't know. Did you see TRX winning Worlds? That looked like an anime to me.
Fair. In-game.
In-game, yeah.
Yeah. The narratives get pretty anime sometimes.
They do. TP top. Markoon starts Herald. Younghoon will get 6 now. So 15:01. 31 seconds off. Not too bad. And I think that's it. That's all Younghoon needs. Now he can just run around looking for picks constantly. He doesn't really need to soak any more waves.
Yeah.
And the best thing about playing things like Pike is you want to make sure you're in fog of war as much as possible, so the enemy team's always guessing where you are. You never really want to show yourself on lanes unless you're really soaking up that experience.
Yeah. I think the downside right now is that there's a lot of these deficits that are so hard to manage that even if Pike shows up, might not be enough to break open some of these discrepancies. Kabe starting to build up a bit of a gold lead here. Not sure how he's 700 ahead. I guess plates must have come through.
A couple plates most likely. And I think he's just waiting to get towards that Seraph, get Rod of Ages up to 10 stacks. You can see there, 145 stacks, More and more AP. And I think the issue that SK have is just, that Astralis have, sorry, is that SK has 2 Drakes, and I think they have Herald too, so they need to make sure that they're playing 2 Respawns rather than making too many plays of their own. If they go top as 4 and they try to kill, I don't know, Irrelevant, they might just lose 2 mid towers for it, right? They have Herald, you're just going to lose so much, not really worth it. It's just better to play reactive at the moment. Stop them from getting in your jungle.
I think this is one of the issues that I see already is that I kind of expected Astralis to hit the ground running a bit more, and their mid game is really strong, and we are well kind of cemented in the mid game at this point. But the later we go, SK's composition just feels like it has a lot more reliable tools overall. Getting this triple melee topside into a fight, getting him onto your enemy backline is going to be hard in the face of an Annie, in the face of a Sejuani and a Lee Sin. So Astralis really need to see how they're going to execute this. How they're actually going to make these picks feel good outside of just throwing down a cage or fishing for a pick with their ultimates.
Oh, he lost the cannon. You hate to see it. -1 on the gold and the stacks. Yeah, Astralis just defending their topside jungle. But you're right, I think the fact that they have an AD carry just means it only gets better for SK. And the fact that Astralis have barely any frontline means if XK gets towards 3 items and can be safe in fights, it's going to be a montage.
Confidence from Doss, stepping forward here. Exa-kick. Gets the root, gets the lock up.
Oh.
Doss flashing to follow. Jungkook just barely able to get out of that one.
Oof. Not too bad. They just traded Rakan ult and flash for Pike flash, but the problem is SK now have a wave in. They're going to pop the Herald. I don't think they'll get this tower. No objective to play for either. 2 minutes on the Drake. Leader's fighting on bots right now. I think he's getting engaged on by Irrelevant. Lost half his HP. He's going to be prone to a dive now. He needs to be careful.
Sejuani just very powerful with the Jack Shell already. Doss again just continuing to look for these engaged. Younghoon on the way in. They're going to burn through Leader before the fight even starts. Younghoon now fishing for the hook. He will not find it. Finn coming in, looking for a multi-man stun. Only going to find the Lee Sin for now. Sejuani all turning. Kabe controls so much space with the cage here, but they're going to have to be happy with the bare minimum, which is a bear. Damn.
Starting again. Loads of bear ones. And they barely get out alive.
Wow. Tense.
They lost mid tower for that, yeah. Good play by SK. And I think Markoon just solidifies the play. Just ward jump in, kick QQ, don't let Leader get out. Don't let him dash away, don't let him try to turn this fight whatsoever. And get the dive and get out. And I think Certus just defended them pretty well with that Tibbers. And then they move towards mid. X-Kick doesn't even have to join them. He just takes mid tower all the meanwhile. And I think here, good engage. Markoon still has flash, doesn't waste it. Tibbers to peel. Actually, he does flash out. I thought he actually used W, but flashes out. Cage is not in range.
Get the flash, get the Rakan flash as well. So some cooldowns taken off the board. Flash, of course, earlier from Rakan, rather. But this stage, SK just continuing to trade up. Again, holding on to the 2 dragon advantage. Next drag is in 1 minute and 15. It is just a Cloud Soul, but a lot of ultimate reliant champions here, so will be significant.
Looks like Kobe is just skipping the Seraphs and going straight to Rabadons. He needs to get as much AP as possible, spike as quick as he can. Maybe he knows there might be facing a little bit of a scaling problem and he wants to get as much damage. Glass Cannon now. Looking for a pick on bot here.
Stepping forward, hook on a Surtus will connect. Immediate chain CC, but that's the stopwatch coming in. X-Kick, bad guns for a fight, but it might not matter here as they're going to take out Yongu before the fight even kicks off. Kave now throwing down the cage, trying to create a bit more space for the rest of the team. Irrelevant continuing to step forward. Finn now in trouble. Dark Matter will not connect. Big stun, big CC, right onto the back line, right onto X-Kick, and they will finish him. Leader and Finn versus the world. Kave continuing to step forward, throwing down. The damage is big from the Vigar. Astralis are turning this. Astralis are holding on, but Lee Sin is coming, and Leader needs to get the hell out. He is now running for his life. One more Q, one more kick. Dash out, but the Sonic Wave will connect.
Markoon comes in to save the day, but it's a 3 for 3. No, it's a 3 for